Hello and welcome to episode 74 of our Christmassy Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host Darren Whittam, and joining me this week is the other spark on the pod, here with his unique blend of Christmas banter, topped off with a hearty dollop of purest chessmas. It's the Christmas miracle of gaming, Anthony Chesson.
Awesome. Ho, ho, ho. Hi, sir. How you doing?
I'm not bad at all. And also we have Christmas reveller, festive baker, gift-giving gamer and cheery Yuletide assassin on the darker side of things is James Thomas.
Ho, ho, ho. How are we all?
Ho, 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 ho. Very well.
I suddenly don't want James to come down my chimney at all now that he's an assassin.
Yuletide
assassin.
Have you been good?
Oh, God, that got creepy quickly.
Yeah, I've got a 12 ball in my sack and also a present. Which one will it be for you?
Awesome. So how are you chaps? James, how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. The fully getting into the festive spirit. We had our first fake Christmas since we last spoke. So some friends that used to live locally but have now moved over to Great Yarmouth invited us over for it's almost like a warm-up. Like, we have the full turkey, the full present, the full tree, Christmas move in the afternoon, all the adults feeling quite sleepy and having a glass of port in the evenings. So I feel like I'm getting into the spirit, getting warmed up, limbered up for the full season at the moment. So yes, I'm good.
Nice, like giving your belly some stretches.
That's it. You can't just shock it on the 25th with a full turkey dinner. So yeah, you need to work up to these things.
That's just so cool. Daz, how's your week been, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm all wrapped and ready, pretty much as I can be.
What, yourself? You've wrapped yourself? Is that what Claire's getting for Christmas?
And ready, yeah.
That's what the rustling is.
Oh, let's not conjure those images, please. even I don't want to go there. What have I been doing? I had quite a good, it was a good experience, I suppose. But I had a test. I was tested last week, or in the last week, because you remember last week we did a story about you can't get a PSVR anywhere in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got put to the test on trying to get one, because the day after, or a few days after we podded, I was talking to my sister-in-law, so my nephew's mum, and she was like, oh, yeah, Christmas. I was like, what are you getting? And she was like, yeah. She was asking me about the PC for my nephew Lucas, checking the spec and stuff, which I think I'd mentioned anyway, because I couldn't source a PC that was equivalent of like a PS4 or an Xbox for £400. And I mentioned this, and they'd pushed the budget a bit. And she was like, how about this? And she came back with a PC that was touching 600. And I was like, brilliant. That does the trick because you've got your graphics card there. That's fantastic. I was like, well done. Lucas is going to be sorted. This is brilliant news. What's Alex getting? She went, I'm going to get him a PSVR. I said, okay, that's interesting. Have you got it yet? And she said, no. And I was like, well, you can't get them. And she went, no, you can. They're in Argos. And I said, well, I haven't checked Argos, but I've been seeing it. I didn't say like I ran a story on the other night's podcast that you can't get them. I just sort of said I've been seeing a lot of news stories saying they're a very desirable present and you can't really get them around. So if you're going to get one quick. And if you've got one at Argos, I'd get it because people are selling them for a lot more than RRP. And she was like, it'll be fine. Anyway, about half an hour later, she rang me up and said, You can't get a PS4, a PSVR, anywhere for love nor money. What am I going to do? And I was like, oh no. I really, it's one of them things where I didn't really want to be proved right. And I was like, oh my goodness me. I said, I don't know. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll help too. Let's see if you can get one. So she went off and looked, and she came back, and she lives in the Midlands, and she said, I've tried everywhere that I can in Birmingham, and I can't get one. Because I'd suggested go to try shops that people won't all flock to, like Game will be out, for instance, because of its name. It's called Game. PC World will probably be out if they even sell them. Though Dixon's and Currys, they'll probably be sold out. You want to think of a shop that perhaps has them, but people don't realise. I can't think of any sort of examples. In the old days, it might have been WH Smith's or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Or Sainsbury's. But I think even Tesco and the supermarkets are quite common now for people to try and find tech in anyway, so that wasn't a great suggestion. And anyway, she came back to me, she's like, I can't get one anywhere. And I was like, oh my goodness me. And I said, I had this idea. I said, right, okay, Jules, I can think of one shot. There's a small independent shop near me, and a few months ago, and this was when it was released, they didn't sell out of stock. I don't think they get that much business, or the people around here just aren't interested in spending that much money on VR. I don't know. And I just said to her, I said, let me try them, and we'll see, because maybe people haven't got there. Maybe they're not doing very good business and they haven't sold them. So I gave him a call, and the guy had one in.
No way.
The last one in the shop.
The last one in the shop. It could have been the last one in the country, really, or the last one.
The last one not on eBay.
The last one, the last one not on eBay or an Amazon reseller. So I rang him up, and I expected to sort of get laughed off the phone, really. I was like, have you got a PSVR? I just pretended I didn't know anything about games at first, so that I didn't get the giggles. I was like, have you got a PSVR? And he went, actually, yeah. He goes, I have got one. He said, I was expecting to get more in today, but my supplier said that I might not have them. But I've got one that I may be able to sort you out with. But I'll have to let you know sort of by 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. So this was about 10ish that I'd called him. So I told Jules that, and I only said this. He said, because he said these are like gold dust. He said I could sell this for £700, if I did it as a private sale. He said, so could you. He said, but so what we're doing, we're asking that if you do buy one, that you purchase a minimum of 2 games for it off us at the same time. And I said that's fine, because they'd need some games anyway. But I relayed all that back. And they were fine with that. I mean, you're going to get some games, aren't you?
Yeah, so, you need it to get it going.
Yeah, and that's sort of fine. So, the clock rolled forward to about 4 p.m. and he called me up and he said, good news, my supplier's let me down, there's no more to be had, but the one that I've got, you can have it, as long as you come and get it in the next 24 hours. And you take 2 games. So I had to sort of liaise, find out the games that were required, and the choice was Rigs and the VR Worlds game, because I sort of that got my my approval as well. I thought that was quite a good selection, because VR Worlds gives you a good selection, doesn't it, of different experiences. And Rigs is supposed to be good. Rigs is supposed to be cool as well. So those 2 games and the VR headset, and he had the camera as well, but he didn't have the motion controllers. So I toddled down there, bought up that little bag of booty, and then Julie in the Midlands sourced a set of Move controllers, which is pretty good, at RRP, which is pretty good because they're really hard to get hold of. So then I packaged it up, and I used Collect Plus and sent it off. I'd never used Collect Plus for sending stuff before. I've always used it for returning things to Amazon or whatever. It was only like £7 or £8. Boxed it up, sent it off. It arrived in 2 days. Job's a good one. I saved Christmas.
Wow, you really are Santa Claus.
Wow. And I was thinking, I was like, what if she doesn't give me the money? But then I thought, well, if she doesn't give me the money, I'm okay with this, because this I could sell. And then I thought, I could just sell it anyway. Or I say, now I've got it, Jules. Actually, it's not whatever it is. It's not £460. It's actually £780. Evil,
the little devil and the little angel just sitting on your shoulders, telling you what to do.
But obviously, I didn't do that because I don't believe, I don't agree with it. So I was a good boy. And I secured this thing that was there was a profit there to be made, but I didn't. I was good, sorted out the family, and my
you can't profiteer off of your family.
I love the fact that did run through his mind though, going, do I like them enough? When's the next time I'm going to see? Can I get away with this?
What have they ever done for me? No, I'm only joking.
I hope they thanked you with maybe a gift of a game or something for yourself. Obviously not a VR game, because you can't get PlayStation VR anywhere.
I can't get PSVR. I get it for other people, but I don't get it for myself.
The smug, warm feeling of doing a good job should be enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The words
maybe a
of
mince
thanks.
Pie as well. But.
Yeah. The words of thanks were enough to give me that warm glow. No present expected.
Your nephew's face on Christmas Day will be just amazing.
Yeah, I thought that. It's just that I sort of feel like ringing him every day and telling him how hard that was and how lucky he is to have it. It's like, you can't get them, and you've got one. You're very lucky to get that at RRP.
Has he tried that? Has he tried VR before? I'm almost thinking evilly, worst case scenario. What happens if he puts it on and 10 minutes later he's motion sick?
Then I buy it back for RRP and then I sell it for £1,000. No, he's okay. He's okay because he's played on my Vive.
Fair dues.
So
you're the pusher. You're right back at the root of this problem.
Yeah, try it. You might like it. Just a little bit more. Yeah, and the pusher. I got him hooked, and I think Jules as well. His mum, I think that she had a little taste of Vive, and I think she quite likes it. So I think she might have been pushing a little bit for PSVR as well, on the sly. It's like Alex is like, yeah, I'd rather have. I don't know what he might want. He's like, I'd rather have a PC. And she's like, no, I don't get that because PSVR is miles better. You should get that. So that was a good deed that I did, and I was quite happy with myself. So I thought I'd share it. And it put it to the test about, I gave the story out last week that you couldn't get them anywhere, and it was pretty much true. But then I did get one. I did get one. So I wonder if you're determined enough, or maybe I was just lucky.
There must be small independent shops, because I follow a shop that's in Ashby, just up the road from work, because they're always good for, like you say, the little maybe last minute deals, because no one thinks to go there. They'll go to I almost said Woolworths, but there's no Woolworths anymore. They'll go to the Toys R Us, they'll go to the games, but the little independent shops down the side streets at the back of town probably miss out. So if anyone's still looking for some deals, I recommend having a look around your little independent traders. Yeah,
and it was weird because I said to this guy, I said, is it okay if she rings up and pays over the phone and I pick it up, rather than me just pay out £500? And he was like, I can't take payments off the phone, sorry, you'll have to do it. And I was like, okay, that's fair enough. But I was just thinking, they're losing a heck of a lot of business, because surely as a little independent retailer you could just expand very easily over the internet and start taking orders and shipping them out by post.
You can take telephone orders with an iPad. We have a little place in Tunbridge Wells that's opened over the last couple of weeks called the Beer Boutique, and
nice.
and there's just
Stay
it's
classy,
amazing.
Tom Wells.
You walk in, and there's just like wall to wall, just bottles and cans in fridges, and it's just lovely. But they take payments using an iPad. So, that guy could just branch out, get a little reader, and then just kind of use his iPad. He could definitely take, just go back and have a chat with him. Yeah,
because I was shocked, they can take cards and, over the counter in the premises, and I just sort of took it for granted, obviously naively, that he'd just be able to do that. I was like, right, Julia will ring up, she'll give you the card details, pay over the phone, and I'll pick it up. He's like, I can't do it. And I just thought, especially in this industry, I think they do okay, but obviously they're just locked to their locale without being able to sell or take payment over the phone, and I just it left me a bit amazed, really, and a bit shocked. I was just like, whoa, it just feels so old-fashioned, but I suppose I'm lucky because it was that old-fashioned ethics that they sticking with that enabled them to have a PSVR. There's no way they would have had one in stock if they were on the internet and you could order online.
Yeah.
So they should sort it out, really. So yeah,
fantastic.
That's me. What about your good self, Anthony?
Well, you missed the most important thing that you did this week. I'll get to the boat. I am like James. I had a fake Christmas or Chessmas when all the Chessons get together. So if we're not together at Christmas, we have Chessmas, and it was Chessmas in Boston this year, where my sister lives, in a little place called Bicker. So we went there, and a good time was had by all. And again, lots of mince pies, lots of chocolate, lots of good food, and lots of chess and banter, which was really good. Which was really good fun. So I kind of drove up and back on the same day, so it was about 8 hours travelling. But but I was going to stay over. My sister said I could stay over, like Nicola and I could stay over at her house, but in the morning at 10 o'clock I was off to see Rogue One, so I didn't want to be this side of the M25 at the 10 o'clock showing looming, because I would have been a nightmare in the car if there was traffic or Christmas traffic, or getting stuck near Lakeside, getting stuck near the Dartford Bridge and all that sort of stuff. I would have been an absolute nightmare. So I said to Nicola, don't worry, we'll drive home even in the fog. There was lots of fog. We drove home so I could wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, ready for a 10 o'clock showing of Rogue One.
Sounds like you were more excited for fake Boxing Day than fake Christmas then.
Yes, absolutely. Fake Boxing Day rocked. I got to go to Blue Water, got to go to Rogue One IMAX, and then I got a Five Guys afterwards. So that was like best Boxing Day ever.
Day.
So it was a good day, and Rogue One. So James, have you seen Rogue One yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay. You've seen Rogue One, haven't you, Darren?
Yeah, I was. When you said I missed out the best part of the week, I was thinking, what's he on about? What does he know that I've done? And then you mentioned Rogue One. I was like, oh yeah, duh. Yeah, so I saw Rogue One on Saturday morning at 10.
Right.
Ish.
I mean, I think that this, and no spoilers, we kind of won't spoil it at all, but I do think that this movie is just a fantastic Star Wars movie. It is well written by Gary Whitta and the crew. The direction and the effects in this movie are just incredible, all bar one. Are absolutely amazing, and this is just such a perfect Star Wars story, and it just fits so well into the canon of Star Wars, and it fits so well into like episode 4. You could literally, as I did when I got home, you could jump from Rogue One straight into episode 4, and it just doesn't miss a beat. It just is absolutely incredible. Even the X-Wing pilots are all sporting very dodgy 70s moustaches. It's just so good. What did you think, Daz?
Yeah, it was perfect for me. So many things to say that ran through my mind on that summary then, man. I was so proud to see Gary Whitta's name at the end of the credits as the co-writer, and because I remember reading his material in Zap 64 back in the day, and I tried to sum that up to Claire. I was like, I used to read him. He used to write for Zap, and when I was a mini gamer, I used to read Zap 64, and I used to love it. And he was one of the writers. And look at what he's done now. It's amazing, you know. He's done this. It's a truly magnificent feat. And yeah, so a great Star Wars tale. I mean, we can't really talk about any of it without going into spoiler territory. I don't think so. That's okay. A darker tale, probably than most Star Wars tales, and a sad tale, all in all, as well, that I never realised I'd be going into. But it's a touching film. I thought they did really well. To a little bit like the challenge they had with Guardians of the Galaxy, where they've got to go around to a lot of characters and get you to know them very quickly in order to get the film all, you know, get you do all that character development in order for you to have them rooting for you to have you rooting for them by the middle of the film, or the first even the first third of the film. And I thought they did that really well. I mean, it does dart about a bit, but it's kind of by necessity, because they're introducing all these new characters. And I thought they did it really well. And at the beginning, it's weird, right? I don't know if you can sort of relate to this, but it started, and I didn't know the characters, and I kind of wanted I wanted to be in the middle, because I wanted to know them. I was like, I don't know anything, and I was kind of I was wishing myself further into the film where I've gone through that bit, if you know what I mean. Not that it was painful, that bit, it was enjoyable, but I just was kind of like, I can't be bothered with the introductions, just get me to the big stuff, sort of thing. But yeah, I absolutely adored the film. I think for me it's the true prequel. You can absolutely stick a massive line through 1, 2 and 3. Well, I've already said that I don't like those anyway to you in the past. You could just completely erase them now for me. I know they sort of in a different time, you know, a little bit further back. But for me, if this would have come out then, you know, if this would have been like episode whatever 3, it would have been amazing. You know, if maybe the story went a little bit further back, so episodes 1, 2 and 3 culminated with 3 being Rogue One, and then going on to 4, 5, 6 and 7, I would have been quite happy. And I got a bit confused as well, sort of towards the end, because I was thinking, I'm sure this is a trilogy of films. And I was thinking, but because it's a standalone movie, but I walked in there thinking it was one of 3.
No,
but obviously it stands alone. It's
standalone apart from the other 9 that go around it. Is this what we're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I think the confusion that you have is that because there are 3 more films that are going to be made, because we had 7 last year, we had Rogue One this year, we've got 8 next year, and then there's the Han Solo movie following 8, then we'll have episode 9, and then potentially it's rumoured that there will be a Boba Fett movie. Yeah. So that's probably what you were thinking, because they are kind of jumping in between all of those. But each one of these are a Star Wars story, and that's kind of where they're kind of fitting in.
So how well does this work as a standalone one, though, for like someone who isn't necessarily massively into the Star Wars universe? Can you separate yourself that much to say this is a good movie without that?
Yeah, absolutely. Nicola, it was quite funny because all the way to Blue Water on Sunday, I kept going, "How excited are you?" And she was like, "Not. I don't want to see this movie. It's nothing. It's not as good as The Force Awakens. I'm up early on the Sunday." She was grumpy, and she was
4 hours last night for this.
Yeah, in the fog, we couldn't see. She was like, and I just kept saying, "How excited is this?" I mean, I was getting incredibly excited, and she was like, "How?" I was like, "How excited?" She was like, "I'm not excited at all. I don't want to see this movie." And I said, "Okay, fine, but thank you for coming along just for me." When we got out and we had our Five Guys and our kind of breakdown of the movie, she said, "Do you know what? I really enjoyed that." She goes, "It's not as good as Force Awakens in her eyes." Wrong, but she said it's not as good as Force Awakens. But she said, "I really enjoyed it." And she goes, "And for someone who finds Star Wars boring, like when we watched Episode 4 and Return of the Jedi later on, kind of in the week, she's like, this bores me." But the thing with Rogue One was you're jumping around all these different worlds. It's very open. It's very bright. The story is fantastic, and she really enjoyed it. So for someone who has seen Star Wars, is not interested in Star Wars, and puts up with me, she found it very entertaining and a really good movie.
Yeah, I think it holds its own as a story on its own as well. You wouldn't have had to watch the others as well. You could come in. This could be your first one, and it encapsulates itself really well. And you could just watch it and enjoy it, and that would be that. And I think I would challenge anyone that did that to not want to watch Star Wars Episode 4 straight away, because I know I did. Yeah. I just so overwhelmed by it. And this is one of the 3 films that are known as the Star Wars anthology films, like you say. So there's the Han Solo one, and then the third one that are going to alternate with 8 and 9 that we're getting. So I really like that. I wonder, there'll probably be more, I suppose, because Disney's got to keep getting that cash. But if they handle it all like this, then bring it on.
Yeah, I think for me, this really reminded me of the Michael A. Stackpole books that I used to read way back in the day, the X-Wing Rogue Squadron books. And I used to read a lot of Star Wars books when I was younger. And this really does, it was like a live-action version of one of those. So I was just kind of halfway through, I was like, when I get home, I'm going to grab my Kindle and I'm going to just download all of those books, because it really just, it kind of hit so many beats with me, and I really did like it. And I loved the fact that there was so many kind of little call outs all the way through the movie. There was blue milk, there was right at the start when you saw kind of when she was young, you saw there was like blue milk on the side, just the mechanisms and the controls, they were all just exactly the same, even down to the Death Star plans were on the same USB stick, and it was just so cool. I just absolutely loved the attention and love that went into this movie. It was just absolutely superb. So I want to go and see it again. I am now kind of I'm trying to figure out in my busy schedule if I can before Christmas, or I might just do it kind of between Christmas and New Year, because I just think this was absolutely fantastic.
Now, I've heard it's reviewed well as well for not necessarily the avid Star Wars fan, so I'm slightly optimistic if I do go to see it. But honestly, I'm more interested in going to see Moana. Moana? The one with the Disney film with The Rock.
Yes, that looks really good, actually.
Yeah, I've been hearing really good things about that, but I almost want the happy-go-lucky style of that, and then the darker sci-fi side of things.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that dark. It is a bit dark, but it's so good. It's so good, James. It's so good. I know you're not a Star Wars fan, but just honestly, as just an adventure film, it's great. I mean, yeah, it's really good. If you like that sort of thing. I mean, did you like Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think that was a nice antidote to all the superhero movies that Marvel were putting out as well. So it was it changed up their formula. I
think the pacing's similar to that. Obviously, completely different story, but it's in space. But I really liked it. Yeah. There's no real downtime in the film either, because I was thinking, even though they do the development of the characters throughout the film, but there's no real downtime. It's pretty much action all the way through, which is quite a feat. But it didn't feel shallow or Michael Bay to me. It was all, every scene was done well and placed well. And yeah, I ended up rooting for them. You just end up so much behind the guys by the end, and it all just culminates in this amazing climax. And it's just it's just great, man. It's just great. You can't say much without spoiling it, but it's just great.
The two characters, well, the three characters that really kind of got me was the K2SO, which was the droid. I thought he was absolutely superb and kind of was a little bit dark for a droid, but brought the funnies anyway. And I thought he was just absolutely superb. And then the two characters, one was played by Donnie Yen and the other one was played by Wen Jiang. Those two guys, I want a story about those two, because I've never been so instantly drawn to two characters before as I were there. And they're not even the main characters. These are kind of really kind of sideline characters. But they are absolutely fantastic. And I want stories. I want books about these two, because I would happily read them, because they just instantly hooked me, and I really just like those two characters were absolutely superb.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of strong characters in there that all really sort of oozed history, didn't they? And that you could have their own chapters or even books, like you say, just solely about them. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Very interesting. Forrest Whitaker's character, who was Saw Gerrera, he's actually from the Clone Wars, and he is going to be appearing in as animated, obviously, but still voicing. He's going to be in Rebels, in Star Wars Rebels. So they're going to have that Rebels Rogue One crossover. And Gary Whitta actually writes quite a lot of episodes, writes some really good episodes for the Rebels. So he's actually so Forrest Whitaker's going to play Saw in an upcoming episode of Rebels. So it's just absolutely fantastic.
Wow. I did think that perhaps Disney were a little bit overconfident in their CGI with a couple of things.
Yes, absolutely.
I was kind of
exactly
like,
what you mean.
Yeah, I was like, hold on a minute, you're trying to pull this off, but it's blatantly, we can all tell. But then when I came down to it, Anthony, I'll put it to you like this is the way I thought of it. If I had a choice with it being a little bit overconfident in it, shall we say, or it not being done like that, I would take the former. I would say, okay, I'll have it as it is, if that was the only way.
It's quite funny, because both Nicola and I, we're both talking about the same bit, and anyone who's seen it will know exactly what we're talking about. But we came up with an alternative which would have been so much better, and I'll talk to you later. Maybe
we'll take that off air.
We'll take that offline, and I'll tell you, because the way that Nicola pitched it to me, and I was like, yes, that's exactly it. The way that we pitched it, we really could have done. We could have done better than Gareth Edwards.
Oh, great! Because I couldn't think of a better. I was like, I'll take it like this because I can't think of a better way. So that's fine. But it just irked a little bit because it was just a bit too obvious.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Rogue One in the cinemas now. Go and see it once, twice. James, you really should. And I know you're right with the Disney animated movie as well, because that looks like it's going to be kind of something special as well. But I definitely try and see Rogue One in the cinema. I saw it in 3D IMAX, which was really good. But I'd like to see it in 2D actually, because I just want to kind of like enjoy the movie.
Cool. Was it actually filmed in 3D, or was it post-processed?
It wasn't. No, post-processed 3D. So I think there were a couple of bits that you can tell. And I was sitting there. There were some space battles in there, obviously. And there was a couple of bits where I was like, oh, God, this is really good. But with Force Awakens, that was actually kind of filmed with 3D in mind, there's a couple of bits in Force Awakens that it really does pop out of the screen. And I never got that, even on the Battle of Scarif. I never got the kind of 3D. There wasn't anything in it that really kind of made me want to go, oh, yeah, this is amazing. So I would definitely kind of see it. I mean, if you have an IMAX by you, I'd definitely see it in IMAX, but you're not losing anything by going to see it in 2D.
Grand.
So let's get on to some games, let's get on to what we've been playing. James, what have you been playing this week?
This is going to sound a bit of a repeat from the previous time I was on, but I've been so stuffed with festive things that I've barely had any time to actually play anything new. So the main things we've done is really try and catch up with the Christmas specials of all the games. So Overcooked, I think a fan favourite on this podcast. Ali and I have finally finished the Overcooked Christmas special, like the 8 levels that they gave us for free, which was very nice of them. I thought they were really good. I mean, I thought the little paid-for package they gave us a month or so back was really good. But the fact they give you a flamethrower this time round, I think really mixes it up slightly. Because one of the levels, well, actually several of the levels, they've got conveyor belts that you can put all the food on to send it around the kitchen. I think sometimes to help, sometimes to hinder you. Mm-hmm. But we suddenly found that you can flamethrower more than one thing at a time. So you'd find the best angle and just stand at the end of the conveyor belt and just flame them all as they came to you. So one would cook 3 things at the same time, and then Ali would grab a plate and get them all off, which added a really nice alternate mechanic to what we've seen before. And this is why I really love the kitchens they've offered us, that every couple of kitchens they try something new, and this has happened throughout the whole of the main game, and it continues with this DLC, and it doesn't give you long enough to rest on it to feel really confident with it, because they'll throw another tiny little curveball in later, but it just keeps the interest going, which is why I'm still so hyped for Overcooked. But I take it that both of you have been playing this as well?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I have to ask you, James, how did you do the last level? Because Nicola and I, we 3-starred 1 to 7, because obviously we're not allowed to move on until we get to the next one. So we're 3, we're 3, but we cannot even get 1 star at the moment on the last one with the big moving log in the middle. There's a moving platform in the middle.
Yeah, so there's effectively 2 rows of kitchens that you can't on either side, and you can't get from the bottom set to the top set without crossing this moving bridge that goes across a river. So you have to time your run right, otherwise you end up in the drink. But the way we did it was that I stayed at the top pair of kitchens, and Ali stayed at the bottom pair, so that we'd only run back and forth when the bridge was on our point, because you had a chopping board on each level, so you just had to try and stick to your own side and then not worry about what was going on, and that eventually saw us through. We got quite a clearance in the end when we managed to do it. But again, it seems it's nice that everyone tries to have to do a different set of plans or a different set of coordination to try and push through these levels. Because what were you trying?
Well, we were trying to, I think at one point we were trying to stick to kind of our kitchen. So Nicola had her kitchen, which was kind of top right, I was bottom right, but then we were crossing over to the left side and kind of just doing that. So we were kind of all over the place where we really wasn't kind of, Nicola sat there at one point with trying to work it out, but I think I was too maverick. So we were doing that. So,
but the first time we tried it, we were in hysterics though, because I think Overcooked is it can be such an intense game.
Yes.
I mean, we joke constantly that we argue with our wives about it, but it's really good. And when it clicks, you see the real sense of cooperation and teamwork for it. But because it's like fine margins, you really, there's a tension that builds up between you. And so after going through a couple of levels and then reaching this one with a river in the centre, it was such an outpouring of just stress when we both collectively fell in the river about 20 times on our first go, and there was constantly trying to dash. Oh, I've fallen off with a pan. Oh no, I've knocked you in it. And in the end, it was just like this is. It was just great. I was just laughing hysterically by the end of it.
I think the one before with the conveyor belt on the turkeys, you're right. I was lining like potatoes, onions and turkeys up on the side, and then just doing them all at once with the flamethrower, putting my flamethrower down, grabbing my plate and doing it. And it was really cool because we'd failed that a couple of times, and then we were getting close, and we were getting really close. And at that point, the tension was just, Nicola was like, just plate it up. And we failed by one. But the time after that, we really did find our groove, and we just smashed the 3 stars. We were way above it, and we were just at that point. You're right. It does. We do shout at each other, but at the same time, when you do something like that, we're like high fiving because we were feeling quite high and quite cocky.
But we smashed one score. I wish they had leaderboards. I mean, half the time they would be absolutely worthless, but there's certain moments where everything clicks.
Yes.
You get every meal, every recipe that comes up, you got every ingredient there ready to be chopped, and you just you smash the high score by about 100 points, and then you just sit back, and the best you can do is screenshot it and share it on Twitter. But I wish there was some in-game leaderboards. That's the only tweak I think I'd make to it.
Yeah,
mainly because I want to see how Darren and Sam get on as a partnership.
Yeah, it was 3, me, Claire and Sam.
Yeah,
that is that'd be one to watch. I should maybe because I've got it on Steam. I suppose it wouldn't matter which console or platform I got it on. I should stream it. I could stream it one night.
Yes.
And I enjoy that, and I don't know whether to tell Sam what we're doing, because I don't know how he would be affected. He might try. If I told him we're streaming it, he might just be mischievous, just to get Claire shouting. But that could be quite funny, actually. We should maybe take it in turns. That's brilliant. I've got a little Overcooked story, actually, because we've been playing it as well. Nowhere near as good as you guys, but we've been playing it and enjoying it. But Claire went to work and started raving about Overcooked. Like, it's really good. Yeah, you've got to play it. And there's a few gamers there. And one guy, he went home and talked to his girlfriend or his wife about it, and they got it. And so they came back. He came back to work the next day, and he was like, "Yeah, my girlfriend, she loves this game. It's fantastic." And then he said, "But you're right. It does get a shouting. It does get a shouting." And Claire came home and told me, and I was like, "I said this. Everybody that I know starts to shout with this game. It's brilliant, but everybody seems to start to shout, especially the girls." I was thinking, is there something with this game? Because Claire was like, "I don't know what comes over me, but I just can't help but shout. It's like I can't stand the failing, the looming failure." It's like, no. And anyway, a few days later, this guy came back to work. Claire was like, "I was overcooked." He said that his girlfriend went proper mad, but totally ballistic in rage because they'd made a mess of it. It was because they didn't 3-star or something, and vowed never to play the Infernal game again. I don't think that's going to last because she loves it so much. But she made this massive statement, and he was like, "Yes." Wow. He said she went. The way Claire reported it to me was that his girlfriend went proper mad, completely ballistic. About
full
this level.
Gordon Ramsay on him.
Full Ramsay, yeah. And that was it. They were never playing it again. And I was wetting myself laughing, just thinking, this is great that this cute game can erupt such volcanoes. I was like, wow.
I was in the office yesterday, and there was a couple of people that were asking me about kind of what games they could play over Christmas, and I recommended Overcooked, and almost as a little bit of a sinister kind of chuckle as I left the building, thinking there's going to be about 4 or 5 couples and families all playing Overcooked at Christmas, just screaming at each other. But yeah, I think it would be such a great game to play over Christmas.
Yeah, it is brilliant because it does cause a bit of shouting, but it's just amazing. It's just an amazing game, isn't it?
It really is.
I wonder how it would be playing with a complete fresh face to it, though, because I don't know if you remember when we played it at Eurogamer briefly, Anthony, that when Will and my sister sat down and played it, we were throwing vegetables around like there was no tomorrow, but they were just shell-shocked by it all. I always feel like I'd have to sit them down and go, right, who else hasn't played it? You two can learn together.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Do you think it could be sort of used as a team building event? What do you think
definitely.
About that scenario?
I want to take my PlayStation 4 into work to do some VR, some kind of Keep Talking No One Explodes, those kind of team building. But I also want to do Overcooked because I think it is an absolute... It's crazy and people will shout at each other, so maybe it's quite good just to kind of get rid of the stress
get that
of
stress
work.
out. But,
but I think it would be really good just to observe people, how they kind of get on with each other and how they do work and whether they do just shout at each other. I'm giving away the anyone of my team who's listening, I'm giving away the special sauce, but whether they just shout at each other or they try and help each other and because I've done that before where I've had some workshops and I've started with a little puzzle, and one was really interesting where I gave them a puzzle. I said, right guys, work this out. And I was going, okay, let's see how I did it. And all of the team just went off and did their own thing. And I was actually meaning do it together and work this puzzle out. So it was really interesting to kind of see. And I would love to see what Overcooked did to people.
Yeah. I could just imagine with Overcooked at the end of it, and you just sit back triumphant and say, and look what happens when you work together. As they've got 3 stars. And you could have done a little video here. Look what you were like at the start. And now look at you. And then from then on, the business just goes from strength to strength, and it's all down to you and Overcooked.
Oh God, that would be hilarious! But it's all down to Overcooked. But yeah, they'll probably end up killing each other and me.
Yeah, that's the reality.
Oh, superb! But no, it's really cool. I'm actually. So yeah, we've just got that one level left to go. We haven't been back to it since we had that evening where we went through. I think we went through 5, 6, and 7 in kind of one sitting, and then we were just failed at 8 time and time again.
It's been nice to take it slightly more slowly because I think the last one we powered through probably in 2 short sessions. So I don't know whether the difficulty curve was slightly higher on this one or we just wanted to appreciate the fact we could play as a reindeer and a snowman. But it was good fun. The other Christmassy one I've been playing to, as Darren alluded to in the introduction, was the very festive Hitman, where I've been dressing up as Father Christmas and going around... how can I put this politely? Snapping people's necks? How festive is that? But
do you make a wish when you break the bone?
Kind of leave a mince pie as a calling card.
When you say calling card, I didn't realise until I downloaded Hitman that the Christmas special allows you to chase the two burglars from Home Alone.
Oh, superb.
So the whole Christmas special is following these guys around a giant Parisian mansion where, with their calling card as it was in the film, they go around turning the taps on in all the toilets. It's remarkably... It's a bizarre tie-in, but I think across the course of the season, Hitman have done that time and time again, because I think you went to hunt down Hollywood star Gary Busey a few months ago.
That's right, he was voted for, wasn't he? Yeah, by the community, yeah.
So how they keep getting these cameos in there, I don't know, but it worked. It was really nice, because this Parisian mansion is huge, really huge, and you can go down in the basement, and there's a wine cellar there, and the whole wine cellar is decked out with Christmas trees and tinsel and stuff, so they've really gone to town on it. It's not just like an extra mission, they've redecorated the whole level. You walk outside, there's huge Christmas trees on the lead up to the mansion, and the party that was in there, there's just like candles and snow and presents. The whole thing is decorated as if it was Christmas Eve. It's superb. And then, to top it all off, Father Christmas is actually in the level. It turns out we find out how he delivers all his presents very quickly on Christmas Eve. He teleports. He teleports from one room to the other. So to try and track down Father Christmas, you just have to listen for the ho, ho, ho. Then a series of jingle bells happen, and he just snaps into a different room in front of a tree. So you run around the house trying to find him so you can borrow his outfit.
So, are you saying before you borrowed Santa's outfit, did you take Santa out?
Now, they are very...
Just took him out of the outfit.
They are very carefully wording their challenges within Hitman, because they do a lot of in-game, in-mission challenges to get you to explore the level.
Yes.
And the wording on this one was, take him out without killing him. I mean, we all know you cannot kill Father Christmas anyway, but to save the embarrassment of trying to find that, I might have just hit him on the head with a brick.
That's just so funny. And they just hid him behind a Christmas tree somewhere.
just tried to... That would be... If there was a giant present, you could just dump him in.
Mince pie with a sedative in it.
That would just be so. So if you're chasing Harry and Marv, isn't it? If you're chasing Harry and Marv, can you leave like micro machines around on the floor and things like that? Can you go full Kevin McAllister on him?
Yeah. Sadly, they haven't gone too far down that thing. But I haven't watched Home Alone for a while. But am I right in saying that Marv gets taken out with a brick or something like that? Like swung? Or is it paint cans?
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2, he gets hit with a brick about 3 times in the face, which is
it. There is an achievement for taking out Marv 3 times with a brick.
Perfect.
So they do tie in with that. Other than
so
that,
cool.
there's a real nice meta challenge where you have to run around the house trying to steal the 12 items that they are after before they do. So it's just another example of Hitman really taking a huge level or a small open world level and just playing with it, giving you new fresh challenges that you might not get in other huge open world games because there's too much to do. This really nicely sculpted, really nicely focused.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's absolutely superb. I mean, I started playing that this week. I downloaded the intro pack. Was it the intro, which is about £15 on Xbox Live? So I kind of downloaded the intro pack just to have a check it out, because I know the last time he was on the pod, James, you were talking about Hitman. It just sounded so good. And then when I found out about the Home Alone pack as well, I thought, no, they deserve my money. But I guess the great thing that we did this weekend was that you set everyone a challenge, which was just really interesting and so hard. But it's just really cool. So how did you do that? Did you have to play a level and then you then did it from that level, or? Yeah.
So the contracts are effectively like the main mission. So I can go in and going, right, I want to mark this person and this person. So, and then I can upload it going, guys, if you have to challenge a high score, take these people out in this specific way for bonus points, and we'll just have our own personal set of leaderboard challenges. So I went into one of the tutorial levels. I thought I'd keep it quite small because I know you and friend of the show, Matt, hasn't got too far in it. So I thought, let's do one they know. And I went in, and it's one that I had played a while ago, and it's a military base, and so I snuck around the back, stole a soldier's uniform and started patrolling around, trying to figure out who to mark. But then things went horribly wrong. I think someone spotted me trying to borrow someone else's uniform, and then so the whole base got alerted, and so there was just a series of events of me trying to run up behind people with, bricks and crowbars going, "Stop it!" And so there's the pile of unconscious bodies got higher and higher, and I just realised I needed to mark someone to get a challenge done. Mm-hmm. So I just marked randomly 2 security guards. So I can't really recreate the situation in which I actually offed them.
Right.
Because I then restarted the level after you said it was a bit hard. And I looked at where their original starting locations are and went, okay, yeah, one's surrounded by his friends, and the other one is on a patrol route where you have to just jump past the entire base to try and get to. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. But I like the fact that you can do that. It's an organic one where you can start off and just mark from the very beginning, I'm going to aim for this guy. Or you can let shenanigans unfold and halfway through, right, that one. Just decide halfway through the level.
Yeah, because I can take out the first guy who's kind of there's one guy that's surrounded. I can take him out by kind of hiding in a chest. I shouldn't say so. James, no, not James. Matt doesn't kind of steal my idea, but I can hide, and then I can draw them close, and then I can kind of take them out and stuff a couple of guys in the freezer, which is really good. It's the one that's up high that I'm having problems with. But I just thought this is just so good. It's almost like kind of you've built this level. It's almost like a Little Big Planet, but with Hitman. You've built this planet, you've built this level for us to just kind of mess around it. I mean, it took me a while to actually get into the area because of the security guards, but I managed to do it. And once I did that, I was like, okay, I'm past this. Every time I restarted, I got past that one really easy, and now I can take out the first guy quite easy, if I'm focused. But the next one is just so hard. But I think you might have given away a bit there. Maybe I need to change my uniform. Once I've taken that guy out, try and change my uniform into maybe a guard's uniform. I might be able to kind of do something. But it's a fantastic game. I'm so surprised that both like Darren and I have not kind of missed it, but we haven't jumped on this because it's a game that's been around all year, obviously with this episodic content. But I wrote it off, and I'm so glad I've given it a try because I'm just so into it. This is going to be the game that I play over Christmas.
Yeah, I was never sold on it at all until you started talking about it, James, and you totally sold me. The last few times you've been talking about it, it's just more and more sounded just like something I really want to get my teeth into. But for me, I'm going to wait because there's the physical copy coming out at the end of January with, I believe, everything in it. So I'm gonna get involved then, I think. But I'm really looking forward to it because, as you said, each single episode just gives so much. There's so much to do in there. So the way you've put it to me, I just can't wait to get that game, and I just feel there's just so much in there to do. I'm just gonna never come out, sort of thing. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. January the 31st, it's going to come out,
right?
With all the stuff. Yeah, so that's when I'm going to jump in, I think.
I think it's safe to say that they'll probably do a season 2 as well. It's probably after this pack has come out, they'll probably announce a season 2, and we'll have another year full of like Hitman goodness.
Yeah, why not? It seems to work, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool. Excellent stuff, superb. So, anything else, James? What else have you been playing?
Nothing really digital, just starting to select the board games for Christmas, because I know we were talking about on Twitter, we were having a conversation about what card game you should take for Chessmas. Mm-hmm. And did you choose Exploding Kittens in the end?
I did indeed. I didn't play it at Chessmas, but I'm going to play it on Christmas Day when I have my nephews over. So yes. So we have Exploding Kittens, and I also have the expansion to Exploding Kittens, because then 6 people can play, and there's 6 of us on Christmas Day. Superb.
Yeah, we've been playing a game called Snake Oil, which is again like a family-focused game, which is what you always want at Christmas. But it's an incredible feat of salesmanship, because you get a hand of like 10 cards with just random words on it, like it could be rain, shower, rock, bowl, cloak, just a random selection of stuff, and then you get someone who is the judge for the round to have a profession or a role. So they could be like a model or a teenager or a caveman, things like that. And what you find is that you have to pitch 2 of your cards combined as a thing that the judge will want. And so it's like half comedic, half trying to play to what the person is, like how you know them to be. So we were playing a game where someone played the role of a supermodel, and everyone was trying to pitch them items. So we had very simple things like a pocket dress. You know, you can go around town and then you need an emergency change of clothes, so your pocket dress. So where you go. We had someone trying to sell a special move so that when you get to the end of the runway, you could have a giggle flick. Sort of, this works more visually, but you know, and then a flick of the hair. It was great as they strutted around the living room trying to do that. But I think the winner of that round was actually a lace cannon. Because, you know, when you're a high-powered supermodel, you don't even have time to get changed. So what you need is a cannon that fires new dresses at you, a lace cannon, and it just explodes onto you, and then you can go down the runway. But it's just
so cool.
Yeah, it's a really nice, fun, simple word game. So we've got that to look forward to over Christmas. The only shame is it seems to be out of print because the company that did it went out of stock. Went bust, so everything's out of stock. But yeah, we've got snake oil borrowed from a friend for this Christmas. I'm very much looking forward to letting the family loose on that one.
Oh, superb. Excellent stuff. No, I'm like I say, I'm looking forward to Exploding Kittens. That looks like it. Because I think the great thing about Exploding Kittens is it seems like it only takes a couple of minutes to kind of get the hang of it. So you're not spent like kind of hours kind of reading instructions and trying to work it out. So it's just like, it looks like it's kind of almost an instant play and lots of fun.
Yeah, it's so crucial at Christmas. I occasionally get the bigger games at Christmas, and I basically have to tell my family, I'm really sorry, I know you've just gotten this for me, but we can't play it, because you will be bored senseless after 20 minutes of me trying to explain the rules to you. So we'll save this one for later.
Yeah, just let me work it out, and then we can play it at Easter. Yeah. So, Daz, what have you been playing this week, sir?
I've been playing more than I thought I'd been playing when I actually sat down and tallied it up. So I'll go through it pretty quickly. Final Fantasy 15, still playing it. I'm not as enthused for it anymore after the reports of the story getting patched in that I talked about, I think, last week. I'm sort of like, I feel like I'm in limbo. So I'm sort of hesitant to play it. It's done my head in completely. So I'm just sort of, I don't know. I'm a stubborn guy, really. I might just leave the thing to rot until such time as I feel, you know, that the story's been put in there. It's just done my head in. So yeah, a bit of Final Fantasy 15, but not as much as I have been playing, just because of that reason that the story's going to be put in at a later date or amended at a later date. And if I'm going to play it, I really want to see the right story, unless I make a decision just to forget about that and just carry on. But at the moment, I'm unsure.
I've been nagging at you because I listened to this last week, and I've never had a game that has told me that you could play it now, or we could give you the full experience. It seems almost evil that they've announced that there's going to be more stuff coming, rather than just having it as an extra prologue or a side mission or something like that later.
Yeah, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place because I want to play a game. I want to play the proper game, and I was so enthused about it, and it's just sort of pulled the rug from under me, really. And I'm kind of like, you know, I can't sum it up, really, apart from that I'm not very happy.
I think we can tell by the pauses and you just can't express what it goes. That's
flummoxed.
For a game that you've been waiting for so long for, I really felt for you last week when you were saying that.
Yeah, and I didn't think I thought I'd be okay last week. I was like, oh, I don't know what I'll do. I'm just talking about it now. And then, like, you know, probably that evening and the next day, because I think I'd only just seen the story. And then as the hours went by, and I voiced it on the pod, obviously, and it just started to resonate with me more. And I just started getting more and more annoyed, and the allure of the game, the draw to play it became less. I was kind of like, well, I really, really love it, but I want to play a thing that's complete, and I don't think it's complete. And what's the point? You know, it was almost going to be... It was a contender for the title of the pod, actually, last week. Sort of, it not directly about Final Fantasy, but kind of quite a lot. Like, sort of along the lines of, what's the point in going in day one on these games if this is going to happen? Because we talked about The Witcher, it was a much more fully rounded experience. There was no pivotal story change. But they fixed the inventory, they fixed loads of different points by the time, say, Nicola was playing it. Or Anthony was on his second go. It was quite a different game than the one that I'd gone through. but the story was the same. There wasn't anything that said, oh, Anthony's like, imagine this, Anthony like played it at 2 months after I did, and he's like, oh, remember that bit? It was amazing. I'm like, oh, no, it didn't happen for me. and that wasn't a branching path.
That would be the case, wouldn't it, in Final Fantasy? You'd be like, no, I didn't get that.
Yeah, it's like that wasn't a branching path that I chose. It was just, that's it. They put in extra afterwards. And it's just like, it hurts me, I had.
I did get a media. We because we've signed up to quite a few of the kind of media assets sites. I got a media alert today saying that the Final Fantasy 3.5 patch, which includes kind of a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about and all of the kind of extensions of some of the chapters, is going to be released in January 2017. So it's looking like it's scheduled for release sometime in January, and it goes through the list of things that it's patching. Some of them make no sense to me whatsoever, but I guess they will when you play the game. So it looks like it could be January, which it could be safe before it's safe for you to jump back in.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I might pause it. I really don't know. But I'm quite annoyed about the situation. I almost wish that I'd completed it before the announcement, and then I could just seethe, but I would have done it. It would be off my list. But now I just feel a bit in limbo. So that's Final Fantasy 15. I couldn't resist but get hold of Papers, Please. I've been after Papers, Please, kind of in the back of my mind since it came out, and I've never got round to getting it. And then I think yesterday or the day before, I got an email because it's on my Steam wish list, and I got an email saying 1 day only, 60% off, which made it about £2.80. And I was just like, I was just going to have to buy it, even though I didn't think I had time to play it. But then I had to go, and I spent a few hours on it the other day. And it's a great little game. And me and Claire were playing it together. It's not as stressful as Overcooked, but you can work together on it. So what you do, you work in some sort of 1984-esque Cold War country. Sort of some like 80s Russia or something, or an Orwellian dystopian country or something. And you win the Labour lottery. So at the beginning it says, you've won the Labour lottery, congratulations. You've got to work in the checkpoint office forever, I suppose. So you stump over to the checkpoint office, and your job is to check everybody's papers who want to get access to your country. Glory to Ostrovia, or whatever it's called. I haven't played it that much yet. And so there's a big queue outside, and you're in the office, and you've got a few tools at your disposal with which you can check their papers. So everybody comes in, you say Papers, Please, hence the title, pretty clever. And you get their passport. First of all, I think you just get their passport, and you've also got a rule book that gets updated every day. So on the first day it says, right, everybody must have a passport. You need to check where the passport's been issued from, and it's got a list of authorised issuers. Check where it's been issued from, check the date of the passport, check the picture looks like the person, etc. And you make these checks, and then you can either approve or deny entry into the country, which you do by stamping deny or approve on the passport, giving them the papers back. And if you let them in, they go through into the country, and if you say no, they go off back to wherever it is they came, from whence they came. And at the end of each day, you earn some of the currency of the country, you get some wages for how many people you have dealt with that day. And then it lists at the end of each day sort of what your costs are. So you've got your rent, and then you've got like loads of your family. There's like wife, son, mother-in-law, brother, and then it gives them sort of a status. So they're pretty much always hungry, cold, sick, and you've got to manage your money by spending it on food, medicine, heat, rent, but you get paid peanuts. And as the days go by, people come into the checkpoint, and you've got some autonomy because they'll try and bribe you. So you have to think, extra money versus if I get caught, probably game over. In the game, both and in the game and in the game. So your family could die because of it and stuff like that. Other people, there was a guy came in and his papers were all okay, and I let him in, and then he went, "Please be nice to my wife, she follows me." And the wife came in, and she's got the wrong papers, and she says, "Please, my husband, I want to stay with him," and all the rest of it. and you've got to make a decision as to whether to let him. She says, if you let me out, you've doomed me if you send me back there. It doesn't go into where there is or anything, but it's like, if you don't let me through, I'm doomed. And I was like, I don't know what to do here, because I'm not really sure what the game mechanics are like for how the story would be affected, if I let her through or not. So at the moment, I'm pretty much sticking to the procedures.
You're being a stickler for the rules.
I am. I'm being a job's worth, and I sent her off. I mean, the papers weren't right. The idea is the papers. My job's to check the papers.
You're employed to do a job. You're doing the job. Fair play.
Exactly. But I couldn't help but I was thinking about it. As you can tell, I'm persecuting myself now. The poor lady. And it goes on, and you get sort of people trying to jump the wall, and then they have to up the security. And each morning you get a newspaper that you read on the way to work. And for instance, at one point it said there was a guy suspected of murder or something, and it gave his name in a picture, and he rocks up into your office trying to get into the country, and you're able to sort of interrogate him and then detain him. But then it's kind of ambiguous whether you did the right thing or not. So I'm quite early into it. As I said, I've only played it for a few hours, but I've wanted it for a very long time. And me and Claire were doing it together because it increases the amount of things you've got to check. At first, it's just a passport, but then it's like if they're a citizen of the country, they don't need a passport. They can just have an entry card. But if they're from anywhere else, they need a passport, but they'll also need like a security pass. And there's more and more things to check each time, more and more dates, names, passport number, does it match against this other card? And then I just unlocked a scanner, and it said, we are suspecting everybody from like Klozaya, another country anyway, I can't remember them. It said, this country, anyone from this country, they need to be scanned because we suspect an attack. So anyone from then, you had to sort of like do a random check. You say, unfortunately, you need a random search, and then you photograph them and do an X-ray and look for like contraband on them. And if you see it, you've got to deal with it and stuff like that. So me and Claire were busy doing this together. And Claire was really good because the graphics are quite sort of 8-bit. So I just took it for granted that they were male or female because it's quite difficult to tell. And Claire was on the nose every time she went, that's not a male or that's not a female. I'd be like, yeah, it is. It's just, look at this place. Look at the state of imagine the state of the conditions these people are living in. How do you know? Look, they must be male. And anyway, every time it's like, it's like, no, all right, babe, you were right. That was not a female. That was a large man.
Listen? So have you started listening? Because I can imagine in something like that where it is a case of, with Overcooked, it's you do it or you don't, and there's a cooperative element in what you bring together. But do you find that the debate takes away from the time that you've got to do this in? Because I guess if you're paid by the job in a day,
because the first go, everybody started starving. All the funds things were red because we didn't have enough money for the food, and we didn't have enough money. It says your son is very sick. You haven't got the money for it, and then the next day it ends, and it's like he's going to die, and you're like flipping heck. And so we were debating about it, but then we realised quite sharpish that we've got to be quick. So Claire got it right. Claire got it right when I picked the wrong one about 3 times. And I was like, right. So the next one, she went, right, it's a male. And I went, right. So I denied him. And then she was wrong. And I was like, no. But it's brilliant. So you can work together. Imagine, you're there in the office together. And it's quite good with 2 of you because you can both be checking the different dates because it mounts up, obviously, as you can imagine, all the different things that you check. And it's pretty good, In fact, it's very good. Always wanted it. Always thought I'd love it. And it did remind me of Overcooked a little bit in the way that we were working together. And it's great. I'm playing it on Steam, on PC. It's also out on iOS. I'm not sure if it's out on consoles yet, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, touchscreen, I think iOS might be better because you could be so quick at the stamps and stuff. Because everything you do on the mouse and keyboard everything that takes a little bit of time, that takes away from your wage at the end of the day, which is detrimental to the health of you, your family, and getting to the end point of the game. But it's really good fun. So I need to play some more of that, and I'll report back. But Papers, Please, if you haven't enjoyed it yet, it's a cheap game, and well worth a look. So that's Papers, Please. And this game, this is brilliant. So I had a little bit of time on VR, and I can't believe it, right? I was reading, it was today I found this game. And we've been talking, or I've been talking mainly, but about a VR Overcooked. And we'd like throw each other the pizzas or whatever. We'd say, I need another lettuce, and you'd like throw it over. Imagine we were on a LAN game. This isn't a sort of multiplayer on a wide area network. But this game is called Diner Duo VR, or it might even be called VR Diner Duo. Okay. VR the Diner Duo. All right, I only found out about this today, and it's flipping almost the game that I've been talking about and wishing for the last few weeks. And it came out on the 2nd of November. I never even saw this coming. It's really bizarre because I'm all over the releases on VR. And I'll just tell you what you do. I'll read it from the blurb, it might be better. So, VR The Diner Duo is a local multiplayer game for Vive where you need to communicate to manage a diner together. It's fully playable in single player and multiplayer. It's an asymmetrical multiplayer game where the person in VR is in the kitchen. Okay, you've got a little kitchen area and you're in charge of making the burgers. All right, and there's all different burgers that you can make, and there's a menu in front of you with all the different kinds of burgers that you can do. All like number 1, number 2, number 3. Number 1 would just be like bun with a burger and a bun top on. Number 2 would be a bun, burger, cheese, tomato sauce, and the bun top. Yeah, and there's loads of numbers of different kinds of burgers that this place does. It's a good place. And player 2, if you're on the multiplayer side of things, the local multiplayer, player 2 isn't in VR, but they play on the screen using a joypad, and they control the waiter, the robot waiter. So they go to the table, find out what the table wants, and they can also go and get the drinks, because the table will want a drink. Each person wants a drink and a burger. So they go up to the table and they're like, right, okay, so he wants cola. Okay, and they go and grab the cola, and then they shout to me, Daz, right, he wants a number 3. Then I'm like, okay, so I've got to grab the burgers. It's like, what's a number 3? It's like, okay, it's burger, cheese, tomato sauce, another burger, lettuce, and mustard, and a bun. And it's like, right, I've done it. And then you ring the bell, pick up, come on, waiter. And then the other player has to get the waiter to go over to the table to grab the burger, pick it up, and deliver it to the table.
Oh, yeah, I'm watching the trailer now. It looks... There's a certain amount of job simulator, I think, to when you're behind the kitchen, because it looks like you are just like slapping the burgers together, which is nice. It doesn't look quite as polished as Overcooked. I know that shouldn't actually count for it, but I think I'm so used to the finest. It's like looking at this, going, will it work? But I like the concept of the second player, that sort of like asymmetric multiplayer.
Yeah, that's what makes it.
You have to actually get involved, because you could effectively find out your best roles at that point. Because as Anthony and I have said, we're always trying to find the optimal way to tackle a kitchen in Overcooked, whereas this is a whole new set of challenges.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And it doesn't look quite as polished as Overcooked, but I've only just started to play this as well. Yeah. As I say, I only found out about it today. But the idea of a 2-player game in VR and using this communication dynamic, I just love it. I love it. I've had a little go, and it looks like fun. I haven't played with Claire yet, so I don't know what the shouting will be like.
I like it. This is the new standard of co-op.
The louder your partner shouts, the better the co-op game is. So yeah, it seems really good. I'm really impressed with it, and it's kind of what I wanted. I wanted a VR Overcooked, and here we have one. So that's pretty cool.
Cool.
So that's VR The Diner Duo, and I'll talk about that again when next we speak, once I've played a little bit more of it. I also had to go on Bullet Train, which is an Oculus Touch game, because I can play Oculus Touch stuff using the Revive middleware. And that's pretty good. It's like the Matrix. You shoot people with all different guns, which you can just grab from around the environment. But the cool thing is you can teleport around. But when they're all shooting at you, you can press a button and it goes into bullet time, and all the bullets really slow down, just like in the Matrix. You can dodge the bullets and take them all out, which is really cool. And that's about it, really. But it's nicely done. Good presentation values. Looks really good for a VR game, actually.
It looks incredible. It's by Unreal, isn't it? Is it Epic, or
yeah,
is it
it's Epic
using the Unreal Engine?
No, I think it is by Epic, actually. Yeah. And so that's pretty good fun. And then I got an update for a game that I've been playing on my Vive for ages called Unseen Diplomacy, and I was playing this a little bit on, I think, either Friday or Saturday night. And this game is it uses misdirection to have you crawling around an enemy base, It's a bit like one of these locked in a room things, or if you imagine the Crystal Maze, you go in lots of different rooms in the game, and it has you twisting and turning a lot, so it makes the space that you've got seem a lot bigger. So you go in one room, and there'll be a puzzle where you've got to sort of complete a circuit to unlock the door, and then you go through that door, and there'll be like another room where you've got to dodge lasers to get to a button that will unlock the door. Then you go through there, and the next place will have a room with a vent, so you've got a screwdriver on the floor or hidden in a drawer, and then you open the vent, crawl through all the vent system. They have to crawl in all around your floor, and then you get out the other end. And then all of a sudden you'll be in like a big server room, which is like a maze. So you've got a torch, and you're creeping around this server room, which is just so windy. And it's amazing. When you watch somebody else playing it, the way they're zigzagging around your room, it's just so funny. But when you're in the game, you really are going from room to room to room to room. It's great to see that sort of misdirection from both angles.
So do you need a lot of space for this? Because this sounds like to get the most of it, you need a pretty large area set aside.
The minimum you need is 3 by 4 meters.
Wow. Okay.
Is that big or is that small? Is that bigger than you expected? Smaller than you expected?
I think looking at what I was doing, say, like I use Job Simulator as my default standard, and obviously I've got the PSVR rather than the full room setup. But I'm sure for Job Simulator, you basically can get away with like 2 by 2.
Yeah, it's very much in one place. Yeah, and the same would be of the Diner Duo one. But this is a game that probably a lot. It's one of the ones that takes advantage of the room scale. You know,
yeah,
as much as possible, really. So it does feel like you're in an episode of the Crystal Maze, and there's been a recent update which made me fire it up, and it added the server room maze, and it's changed the end. When you get through so many rooms, you enter a lift that takes you up to the top of the building, and then all of a sudden you see that the internet's going to be destroyed in like 80 seconds if you don't act accordingly. And there's all these satellites orbiting around holographic planets, and you've got to grab them all and throw them at a massive planet in the distance to explode them and take them off course, otherwise they'll destroy the internet. And there's about 10 or 20 of these satellites. It's quite hard work to grab them all and throw them at this other planet, because they all spin at different speeds and on different orbits around the holographic planets that are around you. And that's a good fun game. It really is a good fun game. And the way that it uses the room scale, but mixed in with that misdirection, it's something that it's difficult to explain, but it's great to see.
Yeah, I think that I've just pulled up a trailer for it. I can remember seeing videos of one of my friends playing this at Eurogamer, and they looked bonkers, it's fair to say. As you say, like shoes off, crawling on the floor in this massive area in front of a queue of people was a curious sight. But it does look awesome if you've got the space. I love the idea that people are trying to push the idea of using the full area rather than just trying to go for the lowest common denominator. All of this, you will look ridiculous, but I think for me, I don't know whether I'd trust whether it had the bounds of my room or not.
Well, it comes up with, if you get near the bounds, it shows you that grid. So
okay,
you know you're near a wall.
It's not gonna get you crawling into a radiator then.
No. I mean, I'm just under on my play space, because I've just checked, it is 4 meters by 3, and I'm about, it's marginal. I'm about like 3.9 by 2.9. So I am right on the fringe of it. But when you get to the boundary, because you've already measured your room, it brings up that holographic grid. So it's like, oh, okay, I'll have to be careful, which is a shame because it takes you out of it a little bit. But better that than to bash your HMD onto the wall or through the TV, etc., or get yourself hurt. But yeah, the amount of people I've had on that game crawling around the floor, scurrying through their VR ventilation system while we are all just having a drink, watching, laughing, it's just brilliant. It's a fantastic game. It's only £2.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's one of the games. It's a go-to game for me on the Vive. It's procedurally generated as well, so it's never the same. You get some of the same rooms, but they're all jumbled up, and there's loads of different variations of them.
It almost seems like a 3D keep talking and no one explodes. Where I guess there's the set of challenges, but it's how it mixes up and what it puts it in parallel with.
Yeah, but you don't need anybody telling you what to do. You just do it yourself. But you could always have everybody shouting as well. Well, you invariably do actually. Get the key. Yeah. It's the third drawer down. You've looked in that, that. So
it's the classic Crystal Mage one, isn't it?
Yeah. It's really cool. So, I think any people with Vive will know about it already. But like Unseen Diplomacy, absolutely classic game. Just thought I'd mention it. It's always worth a look if you haven't got a Vive as well, just to see what it's like. Especially a mixed reality video or a video that shows people actually playing it in real life. What they're doing and what they're crawling around doing.
Yeah.
And £1.99.
Wow.
And the final game, Super Mario Run, came out, didn't it?
Yes, came out on Friday, didn't it? Yeah.
It did. I thought it was coming out on Monday, so it was brilliant that you reminded me and said, no, you're wrong, it's the 15th. And I was like, what? No, it can't be. And I checked and there it was. Hooray! So that was good. And it's pretty good. I quite like it.
Are you playing it on your iPhone or iPad?
iPad.
Right. What's it like on the iPad? Because I'm playing it on the iPhone. I just imagine it'd be quite good, actually, on the iPad. Nice and big and...
Yeah, I mean, iPad for a few reasons, because it's big, because it's easier to share it with Sam, and, he prefers it to be big. There's also the reason that, as you know, I'm still waiting for iPhone 8 before I upgrade my iPhone 4. So, it won't run on my iPhone 4, because it's so old, it's a fossil. Mm-hmm. So no games will run on my phone these days. It's getting harder and harder to resist just not getting another phone, but I'm determined to wait until 8. That's what I'm doing. I've only got, another year? About another year. It'll be 7S next year, then 8 the year after.
Or 8 will be out next year.
Do you think?
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be 7S? Wouldn't it be 7S next year?
7S kind of tends to be kind of the mid-year range. There's never normally 2 years between phones.
Oh, is that... Honestly? Oh, man. Thank goodness for that, because I'm getting so sick and tired of my phone. Oh, that's great news. I'm going to hold you to that, Anthony. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm just not saying anything because I'm not getting you into that debate again about why you're waiting for an 8 because it makes me chuckle.
I know you don't agree with it.
Don't. So Super Mario Run.
Hold on a minute. I've just chosen to do it. I've just chosen to do that. I'm annoyed with Apple's iterations and decided years ago. I've got.
So did it anyway.
I'm just going to wait. But all I want to say is that. I thought it was 1 year 4, 1 year, then next year 4S, then the next year 5, then the next year 5S. I thought it worked like that.
Yeah, sometimes. But I think, the iteration, there has been kind of a double... there has been a kind of a 7S or an S at the start of the year and then the main one at the end of the year. I'm sure we've had a couple of years where we've had double... phones. I don't know. I just buy them.
See, I haven't been following it because I just thought I've got years to wait, so I've just been trying to ignore it. But that's excellent news. Oh man, I hope the 8's really good.
No, it's just that I've been on a lot of the tech sites I go on. You already kind of see them talking about 8. So you already talked about they'll be able to get it. Even there's rumours that it will be thinner, that the speaker sizes will be smaller, etc., etc. So that's kind of what made me think that the 8 was closer because there seems to be a lot more rumours about an 8 rather than a 7S.
Is it a big anniversary next year? Because I was talking to a friend and he thought the 8 would be out next year as well. And when I said why, he said it's because it's an anniversary or something. It's like so many years since the iPhone next year. But I'm not sure.
Well,
no, I thought you know.
I don't know. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't ring any bells.
Okay, so anyway, Super Mario Run is fun. I enjoyed it. I'm still playing it a little bit. I think that the genius of it is that it's based like an endless runner, and the only interaction really you have is to tap the screen to make him jump. But it's the collecting of the purple coins that are dotted around the map that makes the game, because you can't just get them by just going forwards. So you've got to use the environment to sort of rebound off, do wall jumps and things, and you've got to do tricky stuff to get back and to line yourself up to collect all those purple coins. And if you're lucky enough to collect the first set of purple coins in a level, they then get replaced in different places in more trickier spots to get. Mm-hmm. And I just think it plays really well. I quite enjoy it.
So have you purchased it yet? Have you paid any money for it, or are you still playing the free to play stuff?
I played the free to play stuff, and this is the thing. It's hard for me to answer whether I would if I would have bought this if it was just me. But I was playing it. I got all excited with Sam. I said, "Oh, Sam, there's a new Mario game out. It's the first ever Mario game on an iOS device." This is how I talked to my 5-year-old. I was like, "Yeah, it's amazing." So we got it, and I was like, "Look," and we flew through it together in no time. And then it was and we hit the paywall, and it's kind of like I just said, right, I'm going to end up buying this, so I may as well just buy it now. So I bought it, but I bought it because I thought that me and Sam would have fun with it together, which we have been doing. If Sam wasn't in the equation, I'm not sure what I would do. It would be a completely different mindset for me. So that's a question I'll hand to you then. Have you bought it?
I haven't. No. I've played a couple of levels, and yeah, that's it for me at the moment. But I haven't gone as far that I've been challenged to kind of hoik up some cash.
Okay, so not that enthused by it then.
No, I was very excited when it came out. I was like, it's Mario. I love the fact there's a Mario icon on my iPhone. There's something very cool about that. But then I've just kind of played it, and I just haven't been in a spot where I needed, been playing it really. Because I think when I went up to Manchester this week, I was working on the way up and watching Elvis and Nixon on the way back, which is a fantastic movie. So I never kind of got to the place where I've played it yet, so but maybe over Christmas, during some downtime, I'll kind of give it a go.
Yeah, it's quite fun. You can just play it and you can just run through the level, or you can start trying to collect these coins, which requires quite a lot of thought and planning, and a fair bit of skill. So that's quite fun. But there's another mode in it called Toad Rally, and in Toad Rally, you select that as an option to play. I think you've got to spend some tickets there that you earn in game and probably can buy as well. I'm not sure actually. But I haven't had to buy anything else yet. It was $7.99 to buy the game. I haven't had to buy anything else. I don't even think it follows a microtransaction model actually, and that's another point because surprisingly it did really well when it launched, but Nintendo's shares dipped.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really weird. So despite the success of Super Mario Run's launch, Nintendo's share price fell by 11% since the app's release, which was, with their partner DNA, their stock went down 14%. People are thinking that the reason is that the investors weren't happy that there was no microtransactions in the game.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
But that was known a long time ahead, so you can only think these people aren't necessarily as well informed. Because I'm sure they said from the word go that they were going to have it as a paid app, and that was it. I mean, I know you say there's tickets that you can get in game, so something might come later, but their original strategy was, let's see if this can work as a standalone, as we believe in this as a product that people will have to pay for.
It's really odd. But then again, look at the way Nintendo's share price rocketed with Pokemon Go, even though they've got hardly anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So it's like the investors go mad for the wrong. It doesn't, like you say, it sounds like the investors aren't very well informed. So it's still doing really well. But I think a lot of people on phones, as well as the investors not being happy, news seems to report that the sort of phone ecosystem, the people that are playing it on the phones, they would rather have microtransactions than a one-off payment. So they're not happy either. I'd rather have a one-off payment, but
this gets my goat about the race to the bottom with the general phone app world, and it irritates the tits off me. It really does, because you can slowly see this. Like, there's a lot of Steam games. I think that's the VR game that you just mentioned, whose name has just dropped out of my head. The one that's $1.99.
Unseen Diplomacy.
Yeah, that seems a ridiculous bargain. I mean, in the Steam world, a lot of people wait for the Steam sale and don't necessarily give the games their due during the actual release windows, and so therefore everyone buys them in the sale. But it's even worse on phones, and I think so many people now expect quality and quantity for nothing. There was a whole thread I saw the other day of people praising Super Mario Run, just saying what a good game it was, how they enjoyed it, how well polished it was, but they couldn't believe it was not free. I think we're soon going to get to the point where we actually reap what we have sown, and there will be a void of quality products where you feel like you can actually make a living from on the App Store. It might be years away, but we seem to be basically drumming down to that everything has to be free to play, everything has to be free, everything has to be cheap. I mean, there was a point a while ago, wasn't it, when Monument Valley put out a 99p expansion pack, and people downrated that app there. It really gets me angry that people want something for nothing and wonder why they get crap the rest of the time.
Yeah, it's understandable if it's free. And I mean, I've spent quite a few quid on Pokemon Go actually, which you can argue it proves that it works. That's a game that is free, but it's done the genius thing where it made me feel like paying for something that was worth nothing, really. It made me pay real money for something virtual, and I've done that about 3 times or 4 times, and I think I spent about 15 quid on it. But I don't begrudge that, and it's a bit like you say with you said many times with many games, like with Rocket League. It's like, I'll buy that skin now, and if it's maintained like that, a quality game, and then I don't think if it's free, and even if it's not free, if it's good value, I think that's what it comes down to, good value. And like you say, if people just start down rating things because they're not free, it's like apparently it's on 2.5 stars on the App Store, I think, as a direct knee-jerk reaction to the payments.
Wow.
And I was happy enough to pay $7.99. I mean, you don't have to pay it. They're giving you some of it free.
Yeah.
I mean, some people aren't happy that it's an always online thing. You can't play it unless you're connected online.
Yeah, that is ludicrous.
Yeah, that's bad because that's a game you'd love to. You could be quite happy playing in it on the tube or on the plane, or just there'll be a lot of children that aren't allowed it because parents don't want them to have an always connected device, for instance, and that shouldn't be a hurdle for a Mario game, I don't think. So yeah, it's a bit of a successful launch, but caused a downturn in share prices, which is very strange, almost a paradox. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so Toad Rally. In the Toad Rally aspect of it, you spend a ticket and you basically compete against somebody else, like a ghost of somebody else that's playing online. I don't think it's live that you're both playing at the same time. I'm sure it's a ghost. And it gives you a choice of about 5 people, and it shows you the scores that they've got. So you've got an idea of who'd be difficult to beat and who'd be easier and things like that. And you pick them, and then you have a race. And the more sort of tricks you do, and the more stylishly you do it, you amass coins and you amass toads who cheer for you. And then at the end of that race, or it's a time limit, when the time runs out, it's like another toad blows a whistle and then counts your coins. And then all your toads give a big cheer that give you a bonus. So the more toads you've got, the bigger the cheer you get and the more bonus you get. And then the winner gets all the toads, which I think you can then put into the village that you can build or something. I'm not really sure, but you get all the toads. And that, there's that competitive element's quite good. It may be the thing that people play more than the actual game there. When you've completed the 24 levels, whatever it is that you get. Maybe people are moaning $7.99 for the 24 levels isn't good enough, but there is more to it because there's this Toad Rally thing and there's the base building aspect, but it seems quite minimal. But
never would I have thought you'd have said that Mario would have a base building aspect.
No, well, it's very minimal. I don't know at this stage the amount of time I've spent with it. I don't know how that's going to progress or develop. But that you can buy buildings and stuff and place them in your town, and then you can touch one of them. It was the beginning one that it gave me. You touched that and it gave you a bonus level. But then it got me thinking about Simpsons Tapped Out, the way that worked. But this isn't running on microtransactions, so I don't know. But it's all in all, I was happy to pay $7.99 for the fun that me and Sam would have on it. And I actually prefer that. I would rather pay one off and have no microtransactions pestering me all the time, personally. I prefer that. But maybe the people that are all used to phones and the way that model has sort of become prevalent these days, they just expect that and prefer that and they don't want to pay up front. Don't know. Horses for courses.
Yeah.
Can you play as Luigi?
I haven't been given that option yet. But
One star.
Pre-order cancelled. So there you go, Super Mario Run. It's all right. I'm quite liking it. I'll see how long I still play it for. We'll see what happens. But I don't know. I just thought we'll get it. Sam's enjoying it. To me, it was quite a big thing having that game on the iOS. So I thought, who cares? I'll give him £8.
It's quite, like I say, it's quite nice to have Mario's face on my red page, because all of my pages on my iPhone are colour coordinated, so it's quite nice to have Mario on the red page.
I'd forgotten that.
It's very cool. Speaking of free-to-play games, are any of you guys playing Solitaire on iOS, or kind of the Xbox kind of linked, the achievement gaining Solitaire?
Yeah, I played a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's fantastic. Nicola's playing that every day. I mean, she does the daily challenges kind of every day. She's already filled up her bar already for December. There's a little bar that kind of runs across the bottom. You get like kind of bronze, silver, gold. She's done kind of all of those. And you know, at the moment it's free to play, but there is a premium version that is kind of, I think it's going to be coming on the 31st of December. But I think straight away, you know, this is something that I'm going to have to buy because A, we've had so much fun and enjoyment, and B, because like Nicola just like plays this all the time. You know, in the mornings and in the evenings, it's that kind of real downtime game for her.
I find it quite addictive as well. I think it takes me back to when, you know, well, you still do, you get Free Cell and Solitaire installed, but there's something quite nice about just stripping back all the paraphernalia of like level design and challenge and stuff. It's almost just like a logic puzzle at its purest at that point. And so I spent ages on the Free Cell, just trying to get as many as possible. And I swear everything is achievable, so I will spend hours. Not hours, but like if we've got something on the telly, you know, like if we're catching up on MasterChef or Parks and Rec or something, I will probably be prodding away at Solitaire at the same time.
Yeah, I've just recently got into, because there's 5 different modes within that game, within that app, and I've just got into Tri-Peaks at the moment, which is, I quite like Tri-Peaks. That's kind of one that's kind of really kind of taking me at the moment, and that's the one I'm just kind of really enjoying. And Klondike, or that's the original, the kind of default Solitaire. That's just, those two are just kind of really my kind of go-to games whenever I have a moment. But again, you know, like Super Mario Run, this is always online as well. So I struggle to play on it on my iPad when I'm on the train journey, because I don't have a 3G iPad, so I try to tether it to my phone, but it doesn't always kind of work. So that's kind of a bit of a real ball ache on that one. But it's great, and I'm definitely going to go for the premium version when that comes out at the end. I think it's the 31st of December. At the moment they're going, you get it free for being early, but we'll be paying a chunk of cash when that kind of rolls around.
If you get the value from it, that's cool.
Absolutely.
So have you been playing anything controller based though?
I have indeed. I've been playing Forza Horizon 3, Blizzard Mountain. So the Blizzard Mountain DLC, I was talking about it last week on the pod, but Blizzard Mountain DLC came out, so I downloaded, got to play that, and oh my god, that's gorgeous. It's really, there's something about HDR snow that is just, that's just very lovely. So it's the same kind of Forza Horizon fun, but you get a whole new pack of cars. There's a whole event that unlocks, so you kind of go to the airport and then you get taken off to Blizzard Mountain, and you have some kind of real kind of off-roady cars, and it's just real good fun. There's some really good challenges there. There's some really good courses, some slightly different mechanics as well, where there's like a 3-star race, and so there's some really good stuff in there. The first thing I did was I was on the phone to my dad, chatting away, having our kind of weekly catch-up, and I just drove round all the roads while I was on the phone to my dad. So because there's an achievement, of course, there's an achievement for kind of driving around every road. So I just did that while I was on the phone to my dad, so which was really cool. So I was just like, just driving around and doing all of this. So that was good fun. But it's just really cool. It's a really nice piece of DLC.
I think it was the couple of days after it came out. I swear every time I looked at Twitter or WhatsApp, you, Manny and Matt were just bombarding me with pictures of gloriously long shots of cars flying over snowy peaks, and it seems built for the photo mode, this one.
It really does. There is a frozen lake in it, and I've put quite a few pictures on Twitter of the frozen lake, because it's just absolutely glorious. You know, it just looks stunning. So, I mean, Forza Horizon 3 always has looked stunning, but there's just something about kind of snow and those the low sun that just kind of go really well, and it just looks absolutely stunning. You're right, you know, you just kind of both kind of Matt, Manny and I would just like double click, you know, kind of post that onto our Xbox feed, and it's glorious. It's just absolutely lovely. So I've been playing that. I'm still kind of deep into that one as well. That's a game where I would just kind of listen to a podcast and just kind of jump straight into that. So I'm just kind of looking forward to a bit more of that. Another game that I've been playing this week, I haven't given it as much time as I wanted to, but a game that I've jumped into, we were given a couple of codes for a game called Little Acre. Now Little Acre is from Pewter Game Studios. It's very much kind of a hand-drawn point-and-click adventure, very much in the style of kind of Don Bluth from kind of Secret Nymph and Space Ace and things like that. So it's a very lovely game. The hand-drawn animation really does pop on Xbox One. I'm playing this on Xbox One, and it's just absolutely lovely. And it just really is a nice. It's one of those games. It's not so much of a Telltale game. It's more of a very old school point and click adventure. You start off and you've got to kind of get out of the room without waking up your daughter and your dog, and there's lots of things that you've got to do where you have a stick and then you point the stick at the dog, and it's like, that doesn't happen. No, that doesn't work, and try something else. There's that sort of, and it just really is just a lovely kind of old school point and click adventure.
How old school is it, though, in terms of the actual combinations? Are you trying to combine, a brick with a lobster who can then fly, or is it slightly more sensible than that?
Slightly more sensible than that. So I had a thing where I needed to get a jumper that was underneath my daughter without kind of waking my daughter. So I tried lots of different combinations. There was a stick, so I was trying to get the stick. It was like the stick's not long enough, and then in the end, what I had to do was feed my dog a fish sandwich and then make the dog turn over so he would breathe on the girl, on Lily, and she would turn over. And I tried lots of different combinations, because like you, I'm like, right, well, what about if I do this? And there was just that one combination that just really just that solved that puzzle. So which was a little bit frustrating. It was a little bit frustrating that there was just that, because as the same as you, James, my mind was kind of racing, going, well, what about if I try this? What about if I try this? Or just throw the boot just near there, or something like that, or get out of bed just half dressed, or something like that. So, but there was definitely a criteria that I had to meet, and I've going on from there, it kind of does continue to do that. You go outside, you then go into like a fantasy realm, and it's such a lovely game. I think I'm kind of giving it a bit of a free pass because it just looks and sounds absolutely gorgeous. So it looks and sounds gorgeous. It's definitely a game that I want to finish. It's one that I want to just kind of continue playing. There's lots of some really cool kind of inventions that you have when you play Aiden. He kind of goes off to this little alternative world, and then he has all the kind of fun contraptions, and then you also play as Lily, who has kind of a wooden sword, and the dog comes along with her as well. So it's a real kind of heartfelt, almost like I say, kind of very much kind of back to hand-drawn animation, a cartoon, but I'm absolutely loving it.
Cool.
So that was Little Acre, and then the last one that I've been playing came out today, and I was playing it just before the pod, and that is Lethal VR. Now, Darren, I think it kind of sounds a bit like Bullet Train, but it's for PlayStation VR. You basically just have... It's just challenges. So you're kind of in an area, and then the room just keeps resetting, and you have different challenges. So you start off with a gun, and you can just take out these kind of targets that just pop up, and you can hit them in the head or the chest, and then you go on from a gun to a knife, and then you have to throw the knife. So you click on the wand on PlayStation VR, hold it back, and then throw. And they're kind of coming from all around as well. So not complete 360, but you're kind of getting a good 180. And then you kind of have somewhere you can see all these cardboard cutouts, and within the crowd you can see one person with a target on them, and you have to try and take them out without taking any of the civilians out. And you just kind of keep kind of the room resets. It gives you another scenario with a different weapon. But it was really fun. I just kind of thought I'll just quickly jump in just to see what it's like. And I ended up playing it for like a good 45 minutes. And I was like, well, then I think Nicola called me to say that she was on her way home, and I could feel my watch, because I had my watch on. I could feel my watch rumbling, and that's what kind of took me out of VR, because otherwise I wouldn't have known that she was calling at all. So I just kind of packed the VR away quickly, but it's definitely something I'm going to play once we finish podding, because it's really cool.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds really good.
It was really good. It was really I must admit the tracking was spot on, because there was one where you get an Uzi and you get a gun with 9 bullets. So as you're shooting with your little kind of wand, you press the main button, that reloads. And I was really just kind of aiming. At one point, I kind of threw I threw it from one hand to the other to take one out of the side. At one point, they actually do give you double guns as well, and it was really spot on. The tracking was fantastic.
Guns akimbo. I was playing a game called Budget Cuts on Vive, and that's one of the only games that comes to mind where I've had to throw a knife, and I found that really difficult to throw well. I don't know whether but you found the accuracy okay, did you?
Yeah, I did. Well, so much so that there is one challenge where you have this rather big knife, and you have to. There's lots of, again, it's kind of civilians amongst the guys you have to take out, and one of them was holding a woman. So in the cardboard cutout was like 2 people. The guy was holding. So all I had was part of his head and his shoulder, and I got him square on in the head. So it was very accurate indeed.
Brilliant. Oh, it sounds really cool. And is it just PSVR only at the moment?
I think so. I don't know if it's been out on Steam or anything like that, but it came out on PSVR today.
Cool. Sounds interesting. I haven't even seen it. I'll have to have a look.
I'll just have a quick fact check. But no, I really, like I say, I think it was only about £5. Both that, and also I downloaded that Perfect game that we were talking about last week. I haven't really had a chance to play that. I didn't think I could go from kind of taking out all of these to then being on a beach. I wouldn't really be in the right space. Oh no, it is actually Lethal VR on Steam.
Oh right, okay, cool. I'll even more have to check it out.
Yeah, so Lethal VR, it works with HTC Vive.
Yeah, I'm going to have a quick look.
From Team 17.
Team 17. Oh, good old Team 17.
Makers of worms and ukulele. Right, so that's what we've been playing. Rather lengthy kind of what we've been playing. So let's start the news section. And in this next news section, Nintendo Switch specs are out. We have the games of gold for January, and Bill Gates is actually Santa. But first piece of news, Daz, is with you.
It is, yeah. Sorry, I was just looking at Lethal VR then. It looks really good. So, yeah, the first piece of news is about CD Projekt Red. They've secured 116... Well, they'd secured the biggest cut of a fund that Poland had given out. It's been granted by the NCBR, which is the National Centre for Research of Development, and CD Projekt Red have got around $7 million of this fund to develop game techniques. So what they did was they put in for money to research on these different criteria, these different dynamics within games. So they're going to be they've got this money to work on the following things: city creation, seamless multiplayer, cinematic feel, and animation excellence. I mean, you could argue that they're probably, one of the top players already in those fields. Well, maybe not in the multiplayer area, but on the others, The Witcher 3 has great cities, good cinematic feel, good animation, but they're obviously not happy to rest on their laurels, and they're going to push themselves in the direction of improving all these competencies with this money that they've got. So I thought that was great news, and great news for people who are looking forward to their new game. Oh man, its name is
Cyberpunk.
Thank you, Cyberpunk 2077. Whenever that comes out, and I think I read some rumours that might be out towards the end of next year, but that's probably just nonsense. But yeah, so these techniques that they learn could hopefully, because I think Cyberpunk's still quite in its infancy of its development cycle. You'd think that these techniques would get put into that game, wouldn't you? So that's pretty cool.
You'd hope some of these, like the seamless multiplayer, they'd already been working on that, and this is mainly to further what they've already started. Because I'd love the idea of a seamless multiplayer in something the size of The Witcher, or if Cyberpunk goes that way as well, because the world is so huge that just happening upon another player, I mean, it doesn't have to be combat, it doesn't have to be co-op, but just merely knowing that other people are adventuring in the same world that you are, I think would bring so much more to it, just make it feel just that much more alive.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? that's the immersion there, isn't it? So that's really cool.
Are they just building engines? Are they building engines so they can resell them? Is that why they've been given this money, or is it just that the Polish government just wants a really good game, so they gave them the money?
They love The Witcher, so they thought they'd throw some money back. I think it's just about enabling business to make better business, I suppose.
Yeah.
For instance, in a statement, Adam Kaczynski, he's the president at CD Projekt Red, he's released a statement about this, getting this around about $7 million for this development. And he said that, I'll read you the full blurb, developing video games is a hyper-innovative activity, but also one which carries substantial financial risks, involves continuous R&D work, and requires much experimentation and prototyping along the way. The Game In programme, a fruit of our industry's collaborative efforts, I think this is the programme that's allowed them to get this money, will, in the coming years, enable Polish developers to carry out nearly 40 projects worth 191 million PLN. That's the Polish zloty currency. I am confident that the resulting innovative solutions will further elevate the quality of Polish video games and enhance our competitiveness on the global stage. Indeed, our industry now has the potential to become the champion of the modern Polish economy. So the government, is spending money to make money, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So, talking of Cyberpunk 2077, have you seen the new Blade Runner trailer?
No.
So
Blade Runner 2049, is it?
Yes. So they released a trailer this week. Ridley Scott released a trailer, the first trailer for Blade Runner 2049, which is coming next year. There was a trailer, and it was just so that I'm very, very excited about that.
Oh wow! No, I'll have to see it though. Cool.
Looks very cool. That's going to be another movie that will be great in IMAX.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Did you say it's out next year? Did you say
it is? Yes.
Oh, brilliant! That's cool. That's quite a nice surprise. I didn't really know they were doing one, so it being out next year, it was great.
Yeah, I think it's November 2017. So it's kind of this year, this time next year.
Cool, excellent.
There you go. It's 10/6/17. So if that's in the US, that's going to be June, isn't it? It's even quicker.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Is it? Has it got Harrison Ford in it?
It does have Harrison Ford in it. Yes, it's got Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford, and some other people. And Jared Leto. Yeah, miscellaneous class. Jared Leto, who played the Joker in Suicide Squad, is in it as well.
Oh, excellent! I'll look forward to that. Thanks for that, mate.
There you go. Check out the. I'll stick the link in the show notes so you can watch it from there. So James,
while we're on surprise news, did you know that Pokemon Go is being worked on for the Apple Watch?
Yes, I did. They did a big announcement at the iPhone 7 announcement. They had the chap on stage. It's supposed to be out by the end of the year, but that's kind of, we haven't got long yet.
Cutting it fine. Okay, you knew my bit.
We can change.
Hey.
So, James, next piece of news is with you.
Yes, so it regards the Nintendo Switch, because there's been more details leaking out from this. VentureBeat and Digital Foundry have been using their sources, their spies, to get some of the final details. And from some of the documentation they've been unearthing, these are actually the final specs, if the sources are to be believed, which, they're from confirmed and double-checked, so it looks believable. But what we're getting is, I think everyone knew from the first wave, so there's a 720p 6.2-inch multi-touch screen, which it's not too bad. I think you can get away with 720 when you've got a small handheld device like that. But the big question was always whether that, when it was docked, how would that affect the power? Would there be more power to it? Well, this has been unearthed. So when you have it docked, you have up to 768 megahertz on the GPU, and when you're undocked, you have only 40% of that, so it goes down to about 307. So when you have it docked, you have literally a lot more power. You have literally more pixels and stuff that you can push around to create a far more vivid experience, which would make sense if you're trying to target a 1080p telly. And then when you've got it undocked, it reduces the power consumption, reduces the stress on this GPU, so you can actually make the battery last longer as you take it elsewhere. Right. Which I think is what we all expected at that point.
Yeah.
I'd have been very shocked if the dock actually had some more processing power in it. because it sounds like they'll just add more cost and more shenanigans to the whole thing. But I think the interesting part here is how they compare this to the PlayStation and the Xbox. So if we consider the 268 megahertz on its own, that means nothing. I have no idea how that relates to modern day computers at all. So thankfully someone's told me that is 1 teraflop, and that compared to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox are about 1.6 1.8 teraflops. So we can already see that despite it coming out as a new generation, this is still some way behind where we are currently with just the plain bog standard Xbox One and PS4.
Right.
What do you guys feel about this?
I can't deny that I'm disappointed about seeing these specs come out. That it's underpowered compared to hardware that's actually getting a mid-generation refresh is disappointing. Because we talked about this on the podcast before. We were so excited when the NX rumours started flying around, and we were imagining that Nintendo were going to spend a lot of money on the power and that it was going to deliver this sort of N64 experience that just blew things out of the park. Maybe we can't get that anymore because of the law of diminishing returns and all the rest of it. But it's the games that will make it. But I can't pretend that I'm not disappointed that it's not going to be a powerhouse when it's docked. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be when you're taking it around with you, unless they've got some amazing battery secrets that nobody else knew about. So. Yeah, I think it's a shame, but Nintendo nowadays sell themselves on like gameplay rather than razzle-dazzle visuals, so they could get away with it.
Would it make you both feel better to say that when it is undocked with its 40% capacity, that would still be performing better than the Wii U? So it's still even the portable version is a step up from where they're at this point in time.
That's good, isn't it? Because Mario Kart 8, for instance, looks amazing. And to think that the undocked version of it, your portable version of your Switch, when you're carrying it around, could give better performance in your hand than the Wii U pushing out Mario Kart 8. And that's a beautiful looking game. That's good,
Stunning, yeah.
So that's brilliant. It's just, the one thing for me is how long's that battery going to last?
Still, well, this current leak of information doesn't really suggest anything, but I guess as it's the technical specs for the developer, it wouldn't really have that in there.
Yeah, that's the elephant in the room, though, isn't it? It's like this.
100%.
This could, if they had a demon battery on this thing that lasts, I don't know. What would you think? Is it 4 hours? 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours. I would want from a portable.
Yeah, see, 3. I think it's a bit. I don't know.
How often do you play? I mean, admittedly, if you're going on a long haul flight, you will probably take a charger with you. Mm-hmm. But 3 hours is a decent amount of time. In the UK, you can do most of a car journey to most places at that point.
Yeah, and I don't know why I'm saying this because I don't game port it. I don't do portable gaming anymore.
It's the principle of the thing, though, Dan.
It is the principle of the thing. And I got annoyed with my PSP. It used to run out of battery, and the Sega Game Gear. Whoo!
Oh my word, it barely had battery.
Do you remember the Atari Lynx? It took about 52 batteries and they lasted about 52 seconds. Oh man. But yeah, that was a long time ago. So I don't know what the Vita's like because I haven't got one, but I presume that's I'd say that's the benchmark, would you say? I don't know what the battery lasts like on a
the Vita lasts it's been a long time since I've drained it, but it's a good few hours. I've never complained about my Vita's battery, especially if you are going long haul, like turn off Wi-Fi, turn off Bluetooth and stuff, and then it lasts even longer.
Yes.
So yeah, I think you're right. The Vita should be the benchmark by which its battery is compared by. But I think a lot of the choices here make sense. I'm quite surprised they've knocked it down to 40% of the full thing. So they must be trying to get that balance between graphics and battery life.
Yeah, that must be the sweet spot. That must be where you draw the graph, and that gives you the most of both. The best between both, mustn't it?
Yes,
absolutely. I like the fact that when I do undock it, when I'm sitting on that train going to Manchester, that the graphics aren't that far away. I know it's kind of 40%, but that's like that they aren't that far away from what I was looking at the night before on my TV, and I just like that because the thing that really draws me to the Switch is that I will be playing that quality game that I was playing on my TV, I'll be playing that as a portable. It's not, I don't have to worry about the uploading and downloading of saves. It's not a downgraded, it is a downgraded, but it's not a kind of severely downgraded version. It's not a different version. It's the same game that I'm playing, and all of that just kind of really does excite me. So I'm happy at that spec if as you guys were chatting about, to get that battery life, but I wouldn't want it any lower. I don't want to kind of have some kind of blurry mess on the screen when I'm...
Well, it's still 720, and I think at 720 to 1080 there's still roughly double the number of pixels in 1080.
Yeah.
So like that sort of roughly halving of the process of the GPU sort of makes sense in that respect as well. So I don't think you're going to figure that much downgrade other than the pure resolution.
You probably wouldn't notice because of the size of the screen.
Exactly.
So I think it's a wise choice there, really, because you wouldn't get the benefit. I'm not the expert, but I wouldn't say you'd see the difference between 720 on a screen that's probably, well, and it could be various different sizes, but let's say your 32-inch would be the smallest that you'd play 1080 on, and then you're going to whatever it is, 5 or 6 inches. Yeah.
No, it's just I forget I live. You guys are the 4K kings. Like TV start at 32 inches. There's nothing smaller. Why would you sell yourself with a smaller television?
I just think it is a standard TV in the lounge. Wouldn't that be 32?
Yeah. One in the living room. I would equally balk if one there was like smaller than that. But I'm just thinking like bedroom tellies. I started off with a 14-inch CRT. Damn it! So
did I. I've still got it in the garage. The one that I got with my Commodore 64. I've got it in my garage. I'm loath to part with it, but yeah.
Sorry, deviation. Sorry.
I was going to say, Stuart from Just Had Popcorn. He sent me a picture the other day of a 100-inch Sony going. Where do you want me to deliver this to you? And I was just like, oh my god, 100-inch Sony TV would be amazing.
Wow, and I think you should admire my restraint, James, at saying 32. Don't you think I was good there? I didn't just say like 65, obviously.
But that's my thing though, is that with Nintendo, we're getting a brand new console, and it's at that spec where the other two, Microsoft and Sony and PC, we're all looking at HDR, we're looking at 4K gaming, in quotes, letterbox, whatever it's called. We're getting that kind of 4K HDR up-res gaming, and then suddenly along come Nintendo again, and they're a generation behind. I really thought that the Switch was going to get them, the NX, which is now the Switch, I thought that was going to get them to an equal steading. I know we laughed when we said about the Nintendo would be 4K, and I didn't expect there to be 4K Mario because that's just too good. That's just too lovely, and we don't deserve that loveliness. But I was expecting maybe HDR from Nintendo, that they would be able to do HDR with the console.
It annoys me that they almost don't seem to want to compete, but then you think about it, they kind of don't have to. Why they don't want to, why they don't want to push the technology, I don't understand. But
I think it would be suicidal. I think it would be suicidal for the company at this point in time to try and compete with Microsoft and Sony.
So you think that they've carved their own niche, and that's where they've realised that they just need to stay there?
I think they've either carved it or they are trying to carve their own, depending on how you consider what the state of their Wii and Wii U market share. Because, when was the last time we all actually played on it? We're going to get it, but it's more like a secondary consideration. So this is why I think if they try to go after the number of installed users on the Xbox and the PlayStation, it would be madness because they're fighting such an uphill battle.
Yeah, and this is exactly it, you see. You've got us guys that have got pretty much everything, and we'll get one of these as well. But for the majority of people, this would be the go-to second console to complement the Xbox or the PS4. Yeah. So that's where their niche is, isn't it? It's in being everybody's affordable second console, not having two sets of £400 or whatever it's going to be. Not having a Scorpio and a PS4 Pro coming into just shy of £1,000. But having one or the other of those complemented with a good, fun console that you can actually take out and about with you as well. And there's a guy, a developer, Dave Mervick from Tarsier Studios. He's working on a game called Little Nightmares, and he gave a quote out this week. And he said, I thought he summed it up pretty nicely. This is the quote. Hardware power hasn't really mattered for Nintendo in a long while. He was saying this to Gaming Bolt. And he goes on, it didn't matter for the Wii, which it didn't, and it's likely not the reason why the Wii U didn't do as well. The accessibility of the product, the Nintendo games, and the dedication from third-party developers is going to matter a lot more. The Switch is doing its own thing, and it has potential to do well, both as a full or secondary alternative to Sony and Microsoft. And I think it's a good point.
I think the fact it comes from an indie studio as well, it's like they seem to be like the ones that Nintendo should be targeting as well with this, because you're not going to get Overwatch, you're not going to get Battlefield running on a machine like this. But the fact is, it's split between effectively a tablet and a PC. For one of a very simple generalisation, a low-end PC.
Yeah, if they could tap the like Steam indie game market,
the people who have to try and scale stuff anyway.
Yeah, but filter it so that you get the quality stuff instead of just letting everything go through. Because I was watching Jim Sterling the other day. He did a video and he said that, and he's pretty reliable. He said that 80% of Steam's content was in the last 2 years or something. And it's like, wow, because they don't filter it. But yeah, if they could get the quality indies on board, if they could get a deal with Devolver Digital, who seem to pick some great indie stuff, which they may well have actually in all those logos that they showed. But that's all great saying, yeah, we've got all these publishers lined up. But I seem to remember something similar with the Wii U, but look what happened. And I think that's a worry as well, is that if it just ends up being first party only, that's fine, because first party Nintendo stuff's amazing. But the Wii U has shown that there isn't very much of it. It's not enough to float a console, in my opinion. I'd be gutted if that was my only console, because there's only been Mario Kart 8, Mario 3D World, Bayonetta, and then we get into a few indies that I played, Fast Racing Neo, and that's it. That's what I played. That's what I spent my money on a console for. I reckon those 4 or 5 games that I've just listed, that was it. And if that was my only console, if I had to make a choice of just one, if I wasn't in a fortunate position that I could have more than one, or I'd got bought that as a present and that was it, I'd be disappointed in that case. And I just don't want this to end up being like that. But I do love the design. The portability element is cool. We'll see what happens, won't we?
I love the idea that there was a rumour this week that there's going to be backwards compatible for Dreamcast, like downloadable Dreamcast, the GameCube games, so that there'll be GameCube games will be available for the Switch, and that I was just like, that'll be fantastic. I can finally play Mario Sunshine, and just having that as a portable device. I have a feeling that there will be some games I want to play. The new Zelda. The new Zelda looks incredible, and I want to play that on the Switch, so I'm going to be playing that on my big TV. But I have a feeling that the Switch for me is going to be, I'm going to go to bed, I'm just going to grab the Switch, I'm going to play a quick game before I go to bed, or I'm going away, I'm on a flight, I'm on a train journey, I'll grab the Switch. I just feel it's going to be in my bag with a Pro controller. That's how I'm going to play it. I'm going to just kick it out, have it either on the back of the seat rest on the train or on the table on the train, and I'm just going to sit there with a Pro controller, and those journeys are going to fly by. And that's kind of how I see my Switch. I don't see it as something that I'm going to be playing those, as you were saying, we're not going to be playing Overwatch on it. We're not going to be playing The Division on it at all. But it is just going to be, as with most Nintendo consoles, they are just for Nintendo.
Yeah, and it'll be alternative type of games, different. They're those different kind of games, those Zeldas, those Marios, those colourful breaths of fresh air.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to dragging an Animal Crossing around with me. That's the one I'm holding out for.
Yes.
I saw a rumour this week that Breath of the Wild's been cancelled on Wii U.
Yeah, I saw that.
So the only way you'd be able to play it is on the Switch. But I haven't seen any confirmation or denial of that.
There's part of me that really hopes that is the case in an evil way, because it means they will make the most of the Switch version rather than having it gimped to work on the Wii
parity.
U. Yeah. Because at this point, I just wonder if they're crunching some numbers and going like, looking at what Star Fox did at the start of the year, or the Mario Party. Is it Mario Party 10? I can't remember the one that's out. They must have diminishing returns, because even if they've got an install base, how many people still have it active, or whether it's they're all at trade-ins.
Yeah, so just draw a line under it.
Yep.
Learn from the experience, even more key, and let's get on with going forward. Yeah.
So yeah, the other thing that has come out this week about the Switch is that there's a patent that makes it look like you'll be able to use the tablet on the Switch, much like Google Daydream. Is it the VR? So you'll be able to take the Switch tablet and put it into some sort of glasses strap onto your face thing and allow you to...
What are you doing to me, mate? It's an HMD.
That's it. I was desperately sure that they keep using letters. I need to fit in with the cool kids, but I can't think what they say. But the
head-mounted device.
Thank you. A head-mounted device that you get to put your Switch tablet in. I think this is cool, the fact that you can do that with any phone now, because I think what was it recently? Children in Need were selling little Google Cardboards that you could put your phone in and then watch some Pudsey 3D trailer type things, and that was quite cool. Nice little way to raise some money for charity. And the only thing that stops me getting truly excited by this is, as we roll back to the specs from earlier, 720p screen, which I think you're going to get a lot of blur up front, and then roll back further to the fact that you've only got 307 megahertz to do this.
Yes.
Yeah, and the frame rate comes into it then as well, otherwise it's going to be quite even more blurry.
Yeah.
See, suddenly I had a dream of being sitting on the train, going to Manchester on a Monday morning, playing VR, and then just sitting there kind of playing VR all the way. That would just be so...
Playing Mario, and then all of a sudden it invites you into a VR Mushroom Kingdom, and you just go, yeah, I'll go there while I'm on the train.
And then they'll take the VR off, and I'm back in Euston. I've gone all the way
and it's like no time has passed. You're like, wow, that was awesome. That's the best 5 hours journey I've ever had.
Or my bag's been stolen because I was deep in VR.
As long as you've got the Switch, it's fine. The
it's
bag
fine.
Can go, the Switch stays. But I do worry about the resolution and the frame rate, as you point out, Daz. It seems like if you do the right sort of games, then this might pan out. Because as I said last time I was on, when I played Drive Club, they tried to do so much with that on PSVR that the actual end scene turns all muddy and blurry, and it doesn't do it justice. Whereas if you play something like Headmaster, because it's very cartoony, very colourful, very cel-shaded, simple shapes, it does wonders, because you're just watching a cartoon at that point in time. So if they ever do push forward this with the Switch, and half of me thinks they're just ticking a box because VR's the thing now, and so they're just going, hey guys, hey kids, we've got VR, please pre-order us, we can VR it up with the best of them. But if they do actually take forward and do Mario, I hope they strip him right back to like the N64 Mario, where it's simple colours, simple shapes, and so they can keep that frame rate high. I think if they try and do too much and put Mario Kart 8 with all its shininess into that, I think it's going to be a poor experience.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'd like to say that that's Nintendo's strength, is almost just knowing where their strengths are, or playing to their strengths and not to their weaknesses. So you could imagine them, for instance, their whole VR ethos being something about, they'd give it its own name, like you're entering, I don't know, Nintendo VR or whatever. And when you go in there, every experience in there could have a similar graphical style. So you'd be expecting it, so a bit more 8-bit or 16-bit or 32-bit or something. And that's kind of the world in there. And it would, if they sort of had that parity across everything that they did in there, that could be really amazing. I mean, they may not even use it for games. They could use it for like like the community thing they had, where there's always a hub, isn't there, when you switch on a Nintendo console from the Wii and the Wii U, and you see all the Miis chattering around. So they could use the VR thing for sort of a social Mii kind of thing, which could be quite cool. I'd only just thought of that. And that uses a sort of dumbed down graphical style as well. Well, not dumbed down, but simpler, clean lines. But that's a style that is pleasing to the eye, but doesn't rely on horsepower. So if they went down that style, because those kinds of pretty styles, they're still beautiful. Look at I don't want to be dissing any games here, but like Journey's very beautiful, but probably doesn't. Well, it probably does push quite a lot of power, but I don't know, Jet Set Radio, certain cel-shaded styles, certainly. And there's I can't think of any blooming examples now that I've set down this path. But there's loads of games that are beautiful. Like Hyper Light Drifter that I played, games like that. Those new pixel games that have come about, Owlboy, things like that. And they're beautiful games, but they're not needing, teraflop upon teraflop to run. But it's all about the game, and Nintendo have always been all about the game, which is a fantastic thing. But then if they're the only ones that can make the games the best games, which it seems to be on the Wii U, and historically the Nintendo games, the first-party ones, are always the best, then to make it work, they need to make more, or they need to get those third parties to work with them on making similar ones. But it seems that only Nintendo can make that magic on their own consoles. That's what it seems, historically, anyway.
But I think, as we've gone over before, the fact they've only got one console now, this is effectively the Wii U and the DS folding into one. It means that they will have more games because their portable teams will now be making, portable and home games at the same time. So I think we will get more out of them. So
there's more. The Pokemon games will cross over to Switch, and all those franchises from the 3DS and things. They'll make a transition then, because that could be really cool.
I hope so, because back when the DS came out, they did say, we're going to keep the Game Boy around because it's the third pillar. No. This will be like, they'll be basically trying to pay lip service to the people who have a DS and a 3DS.
Yeah, just to make them not feel they've wasted their money.
Yeah, then in 12 months' time, we won't see another car out of Nintendo again from that, I swear. Because it just doesn't make business sense at that point in time. You back the horse. You don't, that one's done well for 5 years, but this is where your money's at now. You need to back it.
Yes, absolutely. And if anyone's picking up a DS, a 3DS for the first time, there is a ginormous catalogue for that handheld. So if you're brand new, if you're just a kid that's growing up and you're getting a 3DS for the first time, you have a whole back catalogue that you can just you can use. You don't need anything new because you have your Pokemon games, there's Mario games, there's Mario Kart, there's everything that you need. There's Animal Crossing. So you're right, it is just time for them to focus on, say, right, Switch is where we are. And it may be that the mobile teams create smaller games, that they almost have their own like ID at Xbox, they have their own indie studio like Ubisoft has, that create these smaller titles that are for maybe more for a mobile experience on Switch.
Yeah, and maybe as well, because it seems the Japanese market, the console market, has gone really down because they've all turned to mobile gaming in their droves, and it's really hit the console sales in Japan. So that must have hurt Nintendo. And maybe they're using this Switch and the fact that it's got that portability element, and this is kind of a stealth tablet. And maybe that's going to make the next steps. Imagine that their overall plan is to move to tablet gaming and mobile gaming, which is where their Japanese customers all seem to have gone. And this could be a little bit of middle ground before abandoning it altogether and going to there. That could be the plan.
Yeah.
You don't like that, do you?
It's a good theory.
We'll just leave it there then.
It's a dramatic pause.
It was dramatic.
I will edit that out. Right. The next piece of news is with me, and that is it's more of a kind of a service announcement, really, that The Walking Dead: A New Frontier is now available on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I think it's coming to iOS and other platforms later. But Part 1 of Episode 1 is now available. So Walking Dead: A New Frontier is now out on the consoles. You can, if you want, you can just buy Part 1 of Episode 1 and then buy the Season Pass, or, as I did today, you can just say, yep, Walking Dead, they've proved that they can do this. This is the third iteration of The Walking Dead. Take my money. So I just kind of paid for it all up front rather than kind of wasting around. So New Frontier, Walking Dead Season 3, if you will, is out. Like I say, Part 1 of Episode 1, it's running about 3 hours so far, which I've seen from reviews. Now, Part 2 of Episode 1 will be out by the end of the year, but they're just spacing them just by a week or so. But you're going to get another part of Episode 1.
So just roll me back. So you're getting Part 1 of Episode 1?
Yes. So there's Episode 1 is 2 parts. It's a 5-part series, because that's a Telltale game, but it's really 6 episodes, really, because Episode 1's in 2 parts.
Okay.
I haven't played it yet, and I wonder if, because it's introducing new characters, Clementine's grown up, it's jumped forward just a little bit. I wonder if they're doing something where you just get, it's all Clem, or it's all the new people, and then maybe Part 2 of Episode 1, which is the real scene setter, comes later.
See, if they do something interesting with the presentation style in this, or at least the narrative, that could be really interesting. Like, episode 1, part 1 is all from this point of view. Episode 1, part 2 is all from this point of view, and then they almost come together.
Yes.
I hope it's more that than going, guys, we've run out of time.
It's really long.
It's really long.
Yeah, the kind of episode 1, part 2 is actually episode 2 rather than something. But I'm going to be jumping into it as soon as I can. I've downloaded it. It's downloaded. It's sitting, waiting. Now, for anyone who wants to continue their Walking Dead saves, you have two options. If you've played it on the PS4 or the Xbox One, you can just continue going. It will say, do you want to use your save? And you can say yes, and off you go. If, however, you've played it on the Xbox 360 and you're now on Xbox One, or you're on the PS3 and you're now on the PS4, you do need to go back to those old games. So if you've traded in your console, you're going to be in a bit of a mess, because you need to go back to the Xbox 360. You need to update the Walking Dead Season 2. You need to update it because there's a cloud save now. And once you've done that, you can then upload your save to the cloud, fire up Walking Dead: A New Frontier, and then you'll be able to import from your cloud save. If you don't want to do any of that, they do in a typical kind of Walking Dead fashion, where they ask you a series of questions, and it kind of starts you kind of playing from based on the answers to your questions.
Cool.
So it's quite nice that they've gone back and retro patched the old version. I've actually played season 1 and 2 on Xbox One, so I've kind of I'm just going to continue from there.
Nice. So do you have expectations for this new series? I mean, how Walking Dead 1 was, by all accounts, amazing. Walking Dead 2 supposedly took a bit of a dip. So are you hoping for a return to form? Is there anything that you want them to have actually dramatically changed?
Well, I'm just interested to jump back in because, yeah, I mean, Season 2 was the first time I played through Season 2, which was over on Xbox 360. It's darker. Season 2 is a lot darker. At one point, Clem gets kind of bit. Well, she scratches her arm on a nail, and you're actually kind of sewing this wound back, and you're doing this through the eyes of a young girl, and it was really kind of uncomfortable. When I was playing it, it was actually quite an uncomfortable experience. So it wasn't as good. The Season 1, I played that. I remember I just kind of jumped into kind of episode 1. I think it was free just before Christmas, like one Christmas. And it was a bit like Life is Strange, where I spent my entire Christmas just playing The Walking Dead and was just so into it. I thought that Walking Dead Season 2 kind of dipped for me because I was playing it episodically. But since playing other Telltale games, I think it wasn't as good. So I'm hoping that we are back to that high level, because it's such a great story. The characters are fantastic, and it's normally kind of even in its lowest point, which was 2, it was still very well written, and there were some incredible characters. Cool.
Yeah, I never actually came back for Series 2, so I feel I have some way to go before I could even justify jumping on in this one.
Yeah, I do think these are kind of games where you do need to kind of go through kind of 1, 2, and then to really understand what's going on, because similar in 2, they kept bringing back some characters from 1. There were a few characters that came back in 2, and they were big moments, so without kind of having that backstory, you wouldn't know who they were.
Yeah, I've still got one to complete. The first one to complete. It's been on my hard drive for years now. I really need to get and do that. I think always at Christmas time, I think I'm going to do it now.
Right.
But still haven't done it. It's been a few Christmases gone by, and I still haven't got through it.
See that? I mean, it's not as good as Life is Strange, but that to me was a Life is Strange moment, where the end of Season 1, I shed tears. It was like, it really was an emotional game, and it really did have you kind of, because I'd never played anything like this before, so it really did just kind of have your heart racing, and it was just such a fantastic game. I do worry that because we get so many Telltale games, and because they do follow the same formula, even though I get to be, Fables, Batman, Game of Thrones and Borderlands, but I do enjoy them, but I worry if you do kind of lose something kind of doing the same over and over again. But I'm just, like I say, I've bought it. I'm very interested to jump in. I just wish it was like Netflix, and it was like, here you go, it's all available right now. I guess I could wait, but I just don't want to.
Brilliant.
So Daz, next piece of news is with you.
Yeah, that's for me, and this is about waiting at Secret Santa's gates. Oh, wow. You'll appreciate the amazing pun as I tell you the story. So what happened, there's I didn't know about this, but there's a Reddit or a subreddit that does a Secret Santa. It does an ultimate version of Secret Santa, and apparently it's the largest Secret Santa gift exchange in the whole world. So one Redditor, Eric's, took part last year, but she didn't get anything back. And she posted on Reddit, the actual subreddit is, I think it's just called Reddit Secret Santa. Yeah, it's just a Secret Santa subreddit. And anyway, she posted on there and she said that she didn't get anything last year, but this year she did. And this year she's written in and she's described just how she felt when a massive package was delivered by FedEx to her as part of this Secret Santa exchange on Reddit. And as she opened it, she found out its sender was Bill Gates.
What?
How cool is that, man? Yeah?
I didn't realise he lurked on Reddit.
He must do. He's part of the Secret Santa exchange. Now, I'm going to do it from now on. But I haven't been a lurker on it anyway. It's like, oh, I've never wanted to do it, but now I know people like Bill Gates, I'm going to join in. I didn't actually know until I heard this story. Yeah, you're only saying that, Dad. But yeah, it was Bill Gates. So she opened up this bundle and it came with a letter from him with a picture as well of him holding the letter that he wrote to her.
Please don't tell me that was just the gift, a picture of Bill Gates.
That's the story.
In a roll neck.
He's in a Santa hat.
Oh wow!
With an open necked shirt, and that is it. Yeah, what's wrong with that? That's a brilliant story, don't you think? So, what Bill said, he expressed his condolences that she'd participated in last year's Secret Santa, but not got anything herself. That's outrageous, isn't it? But sent her a mountain of stuff.
Wow!
So here you go. It's loads of stuff. This is what she got from Bill Gates. She got and some of these, I don't know whether he read some of her posts or something. I don't know, but she got a Cajun cookbook, which I wouldn't mind. The Martian DVD, the End of the Tour DVD, Believe DVD, a paper version of the Final Form Master Sword from Skyward Sword. It's pretty cool. Minecraft Xbox One bundle. 3 custom Xbox One controllers, Xbox One Halo 5 Guardians, Xbox One Rise of the Tomb Raider, a year subscription to Xbox Live Gold, an NES Classic Edition that you can't get anywhere for love nor money, a year subscription to, I said that one, 2 pairs of Legend of Zelda mittens,
wow,
a Zelda blanket, and a Link and Zelda picture frame. A picture frame with a photo of the girl, her dog, her husband, and a photoshopped Bill Gates.
I think it's the Photoshop Mr. Gates is the absolute cherry on the top of this cake.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Imagine that. I just think that's so good. And on the site, it's just got the picture of Bill there, and I just think it's fantastic. The Zelda blanket looks awesome as well.
Wow, that's confirming that we're getting a Zelda version, a version of Zelda on the Xbox One. Confirmed.
Yeah. So much. That's it. I'm putting my pre-order in now. But yeah, I never knew about this Reddit Secret Santa. I think it's such a wonderful thing to do. So I had a look at the Reddit. I think I've missed the date for sort of enrolling on it. But everybody, I presume you just get given an address, and somebody else will get your address, and then you just send a gift, and you hopefully, she didn't last year, must have been, I don't know why, but I just think that'd be really cool, from sort of a like-minded, gamey type, geeky type, and you get something cool. I'd spend a long time trying to think of what to get. I think it's around $20 is the mark.
Bill Gates must have got a hell of a discount at the Xbox shop then. So.
Oh, yeah. Apart from that, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, if we take part, everybody's got to match Bill Gates. It's like everybody's got to spend right on $2,500. But I think for your average Joe, it's about $20 that you'd spend. I think there's a premium one you can do is spend a little bit more. But I quite like that because I like picking presents for people and getting cool stuff that people don't even realise that they'd like. So I'd like even just as much, if not more, to receive something that I didn't even realise I wanted, but that was really cool. So I think it's a really nice thing, all in the spirit of Christmas. So yeah, if you're interested, I think it's a bit too late for this year, obviously, as it's the 20th of December today. But maybe set yourself a calendar appointment for next year, around about November or October, and check the Reddit Secret Santa subreddit and get involved. Why not? And you never know, you might strike it lucky with Bill or someone else. Or Shuhei.
Or Daz Whittam from Gamers Lost Spark.
Oh, imagine the booty collection you'd get from me. Oh, man, I could send a Pip Boy.
Special edition Pip Boy.
Just scanning your shelves for anything you're done with.
Massive footprint in it. Yeah.
Oh, super.
So, over to you, James.
Yeah, sadly, this news isn't as shiny and happy. It's the news that Crytek is closing 5 studios across the globe. So there was the news story I think you covered last week about them withholding payments to the staff, and it seems that in a harsh way that some of that has been resolved. So whilst they're keeping their Frankfurt and Kiev studios open, they are shutting their studios in Hungary, Bulgaria, Korea, China and Turkey. So that's a massive downgrade. Crytek were in trouble about 2-3 years ago after they went through a major restructuring, and I think they just managed to dodge bankruptcy then. But since then, they seem to have always been treading water after selling the rights to Homefront, The Revolution. It just doesn't seem to have worked out for them, because I think they actually published Robinson: The Journey, which you played recently, Anthony, but that was their last effort.
Right. Wow.
So Crytek's co-founder and managing director came out and said, changes are part of the essential steps we are taking to ensure Crytek is a healthy, sustainable business moving forward that can continue to attract and nurture our industry's top talent. The reasons for this have been communicated internally along the way, although apparently not to the people who weren't receiving paychecks. Our focus now lies entirely on the core strengths that have always defined Crytek. World-class developers, state-of-the-art technology, and innovative game development. And we believe that going through this challenging process will make us more agile, viable, and attractive studio prime for the future. So it is basically management speak for we are trimming some people to make sure that we can stay afloat.
Yeah.
It's a horrible time, and my heart goes out to anyone involved in this process, and we hope they all find jobs soon. But the direction of the company as a whole seems lost at this point in time, especially after selling Homefront. Only a couple of years ago, they basically came out and said that they were going to make exclusively free-to-play games, things like Warface. But it just doesn't seem to have panned out for them. And I just wonder whether a company as large as Crytek trying to do AAA free-to-play games seems to be the right way to go. Well, obviously this proves it isn't necessarily the right thing or wasn't the right product to push them forward. They'll still have the Cry engine. They're still going to try and license that out, still get some income from that. But they say they're going to develop and work on premium IPs. But it seems like there's a long road back for Crytek at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, I never knew they had so many studios. And I know they've been around a while, but it seems a lot. I wonder if they just expanded sort of too big too soon, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they've been trying to do bits and pieces, because obviously they did the Robinson: The Journey from what we just said, and I think they were helping out with Star Citizen in a little way, so you can almost think at certain points they must have been guns for hire to try and get some work in, and actually sustaining the engine was probably it probably was in maybe across multiple studios, but I guess having multiple studios across the globe will actually help you with the time frames of those who are actually licensing your engine for that. So that could explain some of that. But yeah, I never realised they had so many studios across the face of the globe.
No, well, it's definitely a shame. As I said last week, it's just it's a terrible time. It's never going to come at a good time, but especially not now. No. And The only silver lining that I can imagine is that they're talented guys and that they won't have a problem finding something else. Yeah. And if the writing has been on the wall for a while, it might be, in some ways, and I say this, trying to find a silver lining, somewhat of a relief to know that this has been resolved and you can move on from at this point, rather than just hoping that it will right itself. Yeah, some closure.
Yeah. So good luck to everyone involved, and we hope you find work soon.
Yeah.
Indeed. And on another kind of lull note, this is probably like the middle of our Christmas special where it gets a little bit serious and it gets a little bit down, but we'll pick it up towards the end and Darren will wow us at the VR news desk. WB Montreal have cancelled an unannounced Suicide Squad game. By all accounts, the WB Montreal, the makers of Arkham Origins and Arkham Origins Blackgate, were working on a Suicide Squad game that was supposed to come out alongside the movie, but it had failed to wow the in the greenlight meetings. The management at Warner Brothers kind of weren't taken by the game, so they have decided that they are going to cancel the Suicide Squad game, and instead they're going to focus on another Batman game. So which is good news for anybody wanting the next Batman game. But bad news that because something with Suicide Squad could have actually been quite an interesting kind of mixture of characters, mixtures of abilities, set in that kind of universe, could have been quite exciting. But they have said that they are going to be working on a game that has been rumoured for a while, which is the next Batman game, and this is going to be based on, it's going to be starring Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne is the son of Batman, who is the current Robin at the moment. So it's going to shift to Damian Wayne being the Batman. So that, from a Batman fan is quite interesting, quite exciting. But it's a shame that it had to come at the expense of a game that sounded like it was quite far kind of down the development track.
You can't help but think this might have been influenced by the critical reception. I don't know how well it actually did in terms of gross, but Suicide Squad wasn't received particularly well, I think it's fair to say. No. So I think they might have thought that what could have been a platform for them to push on with, much I guess think like the relaunch of Batman a few films ago. If this had kicked on, then they would have probably put out anything that they could have stamped the name on. So in some ways, it's nice to know there is still that quality control check ready to go.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it's really good. But I mean, saying that, even though Suicide Squad wasn't kind of very well received this year, they are actually still making some more movies. So there's going to be a Suicide Squad. I think they're calling it kind of it's going to be Harlequin. It's going to be Catwoman. It's going to be Poison Ivy are going to be going together. I think it's called like the Gotham Sirens or something like that. There's a couple of comic books that are like that. So they are continuing on, and they're going to have Margot Robbie reprising the role of Harley Quinn. So they're still kind of throwing money into the movies. But you're right, it was probably, let's get this out alongside the movie. It was looking a little bit rough. Let's give it a little bit more, a little bit of time. And then they saw the reception of the movie, and they're like, do you know what? It's just not worth it. It's just not worth the marketing budget. So they have just. But now it's quite interesting that WB Montreal, who is not, if you like the Arkham games, a lot of people kind of they are quite down on Arkham Origins. I'm not. I think it's an okay game. I wish it was one of the ones that was in that pack or remastered, because it's the only Arkham game that I haven't finished, and I only didn't finish it because Xbox One came out and I got distracted by new shiny. But so WB Montreal working on a Damon Wayne game, which is really cool. It'd be interesting to see if he is an older Batman, or if he is just still kind of like a young kind of Robin, the character that he's playing at the moment.
Cool. So were you, I guess given your love for Batman, you'd have bought either one. You'd have bought into and just really immersed yourself in either. So I guess it's not a lose situation for you. You get either a good Batman game or a good Suicide Squad game, whichever way this coin flip had gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of win-win really for me, because I'm guessing at some point Batman would have appeared in the Suicide Squad game, but I'd got another comic book game, so that would have been good for me. Superb. And then the last piece of news is that we have the Games of Gold for January. So Microsoft have kind of got out quite early, and they have announced that we have the Games of Gold coming in January. So I have a quick run through those. They are on Xbox One. We have Death Trap, which is coming the 1st of January to the 31st of January, and Death Trap is it's a tower defense plus RPG game. Very similar to, if anybody played Orcs Must Die, it seems very similar to that. So where you kind of set your tower defense elements, but then there's also a lot of kind of free-to-play kind of hack and slash isometric view of the map. So it looks quite interesting, and that's coming from the 1st to the 31st. Coming on the 16th of January to the 15th of February, we have Killer Instinct Season 2, and that's the Season 2 Ultra Edition, so which is somewhere kind of around about $40 at the moment on Xbox Store. So that's quite a hefty a hefty title.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by this one because I think this must be one of the first free-to-play ones they put out. Those effectively you get the bundle to pad it all out. So it's good to see they're just reaching across all of their titles. I've got a soft spot for Killer Instinct, but I didn't realise this would be in the Games for Gold stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is fantastic because I think Season 2 came with Arbiter, didn't it, from Halo?
That was it. Yeah, my hesitation was I was trying to remember whether this had Arbiter or one of the Battletoads in it, but you're right, it's Arbiter.
I think it had both. I think Battletoads appeared just for a while. I think it was just around E3, wasn't it, that they had Rash
I think that might be
from
Season
Battletoads.
3.
Right, okay.
So next year when they give out Season 3.
Yes. But this one
Cool.
definitely has Arbiter in it. And then over on backwards compatible or Xbox 360 games, which is backward compatible on Xbox One, we have The Cave, which is Ron Gilbert and Double Fine Productions. So The Cave, that came out a good couple of years ago on Xbox 360 and is a fantastic game. Again, it's another one of those kind of old school kind of point and click adventures. And I really enjoyed that actually when that came out. That was a really good game. And then we have the classic Rayman Origins. The 360 version is out on Xbox One.
That's good. I really liked that game. I think it was the first use of the UbiArt engine, and it just brought me back into Rayman because I wasn't really a big fan of the 3D games, but that was absolutely lush. It's got a great sense of humour to it as well.
It did, didn't it? It just looked absolutely superb. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, I almost wish, because I've got Rayman Legends. Has that been out on Gold, actually? I think I bought that, but it might have been a Games with Gold game as well. I'm not sure. But you get a lot of the Origins levels in Legends as well. You unlock them as you play the game, and they're all beautiful. And you can see where Legends got its inspiration from too. So they're quite similar. But yeah, Origins on the 360 must have been beautiful because Legends is phenomenal on the Xbox One, and they are very similar.
Yes, absolutely. But I think there's some really good titles there. I think that, again, kind of Xbox One is kind of coming with, or Xbox is coming with another kind of full bevy of titles for Games with Gold.
Yeah, I'll definitely dive in on the Killer Instinct. I'll have to relearn how to fight for about the third or fourth time. But yeah, I do, there's nothing like pulling off an Ultra and stuff in that. But it's so sort of few and far between when I play it. Every time I play it, I have to go through the whole tutorial, reacquaint myself with the systems. I really enjoy it, and then I go off and get distracted and forget again, and then start again. But this would be a great time to pop in.
Honestly, Killer Instinct is the reason I haven't tried to 100% all the achievements in Rare Replay, because I get to the point of I can't even beat half I can't do a killer combo. I can't do anything in that thing. Beat 'em ups are my utter weakness when it comes to games, so I'm just steering clear of trying to perfect that.
Oh, mate! I thought when you said it was your weakness, I thought it was a weak spot because you loved it so much.
No. If you ever have to challenge me, if we ever had to fight to the death over something, challenge me to a beat 'em up, like Street Fighter or Killer Instinct, and you'd walk it. I'd be there just jabbing the pokey button, and that's it. Just trying to leg sweep you the entire time.
I think it does have sort of an easy mode on, though, doesn't it? On this.
Don't patronise me. I know I'm bad.
Training wheels.
I've accepted that.
Yeah, all right. That's exactly what I'd say. I don't want no pity win.
Daz, at the moment we've got Burnout Paradise until the end of the month. Have you tried that yet?
I have, yeah. I've downloaded it.
Does it hold up? Does it still look as good?
Not after playing Forza.
No, don't go from Forza to that. But is it still good? Because I've downloaded it, but I haven't jumped into it yet. So
yeah, it's all right. It's all right. You know, it's funny because when we played Gears 2 after playing Gears 4, and I think Gears 2 held up pretty well.
Yes.
But the textures, you can you really feel you're playing a last gen game in it with the textures, with the visuals.
Right.
But no, it's a fun game. It's really good, and I love it. It starts and it kicks off with Guns N' Roses' Paradise City as the game starts, and that blends not only from the title screen but all the way through the start of the game and into you driving your car, and the song's still going. And yeah, it's good fun, really fast. It's cool. I like it.
That's so cool.
Well worth a go. Yeah, I think out of the ones that out of last month, that's a doozy. That one.
Yeah. Just before we move on, there was an article in IGN that did a bit of a total saving from PS Plus and Games with Gold, and it's just really interesting. This is in dollars, but it was really interesting just to see these figures on the PS Plus. The total saving for 2016. So if you grabbed every game, you would have got a total of $1,283.28 worth of gaming for the year of PS Plus, and with Games with Gold you would have got a total of $1,053.55 if you bagged all of those games. So really, they're really good service, aren't they?
Well, you could buy your PS4 Pro with that, can't you?
Exactly, and then some.
And your Scorpio, it's like, well, everyone will be buying the Scorpio because you saved $1,000.
There you go. Never need to buy a game again. You just use the ones with Games of Gold. So that is the end of our regular news. It's time to quickly dive over to the VR news desk for the latest in VR.
VR desk.
Hello guys, and a fine Christmas welcome to you here at the VR desk once more for the last time in 2016.
The virtual tree is lovely. I love what you've done with it.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It took a long time to position it just right within the ether space that we sit in. But I'm glad you like it because I did spend some time on it. It's been an interesting year, hasn't it? We'll VR 2016, we said at the start, didn't we? The year of VR, and here we are with all these VR systems that we've got. Well, we'll talk more about that at the sort of first one in the new year episode. But what have I got for you today? First of all, Battlezone, sort of the old meets the new with Battlezone on PSVR. There's an update coming out that's going to take it to what they call classic mode, and it's going to give it a green wireframe mode, which I think is awesome. So it's just going to look like the original arcade.
Oh, yes. That's so cool.
Yeah, so you're going to be there, don the headset, activate classic mode, and you'll be playing the original. It's going to look like the original arcade game, but obviously you'll be in VR. So you're state of the art playing one of the grandfathers of gaming.
I didn't
Brilliant.
think a gimmick like this would actually make me go back to Battlezone, but I think it might, because I can remember playing this on like an Acorn computer in my GCSE class, I think, because very outdated machines there, but I still love the wireframe nature of it. I just want to, because we've seen loads of 8-bit remakes and lots of vector graphic remakes, but I think this is the first time I'll have experienced a retro experience in VR. So I'm very intrigued to see how this fares.
It's such an amazing contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Retro and VR.
Yeah.
Because it's so sort of shiny and state of the art new, blended with that old. And something like Battlezone worked really well. I sort of makes me yearn. I know it is ever a week that goes by that I don't yearn for Star Wars in VR, but the original Vector Star Wars would work really well. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Would you remember that in the arcades, way back when, that in the arcade they had a game that was very similar to kind of Battlezone, but you were in a tank and you had to put your eyes up against a like goggles, almost kind of VR,
like a periscope.
Goggles. Yeah, like a periscope. That was it.
Was that not Battlezone though?
Was that?
I thought that was Battle, because I was just about to ask at the next sort of pause. I was going to say, do you remember playing the original arcade? Did it have a periscope?
Yes,
because I've got this thing, and you looked around the horizon and you shot, and I think that was Battlezone.
And it had the two handles either side of the eye bit, just like a periscope, and then you had
with triggers on.
Yeah, with triggers.
Yeah, I think that was Battlezone.
Wow. Oh, I want to get Battlezone now.
So you can hold your wand controllers just at that point, and twist your whole body instead of just craning your neck, and it'll be sort of like being at that arcade, won't it?
Yeah.
Periscope up. Wow. So this is really cool. It's not just a skin, it's a separate section. So it's separate from the main campaign. You can choose between either a modern control scheme or you can have the retro control scheme as well, so you can make it even more authentic. And it's all about point scoring, even more authentic, because that's all there was to really as a target in the old days, with global leaderboards as well. There's also some other stuff coming out, and it's all going to come out today. If you've got Battlezone, it's a free update coming out on the 20th of December.
Splendid.
Wow.
It is good, isn't it? Yeah. That would make, if I had a PSVR, I probably wouldn't have bought Battlezone. But this would make me tempted to want to buy it. Or I'd be begging them, I'd be moaning, saying, can't you just sell me that bit for £5 or £10 or £15? I'd love that. I really think that's cool.
That is just so cool. I'm just looking at the arcade cabinet here, and
You're finding it.
I do, yeah. It's quite funny how how your mind changes things, because it didn't have the two either side. They're actually down at the bottom, so you had controllers there, but it looked incredible.
Oh wow, yeah, that's it. That's weird. My memory had it.
Yeah, mine too. Maybe there was different SKUs of the cabinet, because I'm sure I played one like that, and so
I was on holiday in Spain and they had one, and I was sure that you put your face in it and you sort of hold it up near the periscope. That's weird, isn't it? But yeah, maybe they had different SKUs.
It really is. I will stick a link to this cabinet in the show notes so people can see what we're talking about. But it's absolutely fantastic. I might buy Battlezone. Maybe I'll wait until over Christmas to see if it gets discounted slightly, and then I'll buy it, because it looks like so cool.
I wonder how much it is to buy that cab. Get the arcade cab. Be awesome, man. Put it on free play.
Oh, you imagine if
probably as much as a PSVR on eBay right now.
Yeah. Get that cabinet and then just fit the PlayStation VR into it, and then you could do it that way and have it running a PlayStation 4.
Like sort of a newfangled MAME arcade cabinet.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that'd be awesome. So moving on, we've got there's been hands-on testing on the Vive's TP Cast. Now, I covered this a little while ago, and for those that don't remember or didn't hear it, the TP Cast is an add-on that has been developed for the HTC Vive, and presumably it could be developed for the other devices as well, that takes away the wires. It takes away the need for that trailing cable. And the way it does it is it fits onto the headset. You plug everything into it, and then you take away the long cable. You just plug everything from the headset into this sort of piece of hardware, and then it does have a wire, but that wire is just one wire that goes to a battery that you put in your pocket. So you're wireless. You're not tripping over the cable. You're free, really, to go wherever you want in VR. And the cable is a drag, really, literally as well as figuratively. So this is brilliant. This is such a cool thing. And anyway, so we talked about it coming out, and uploadvr.com have been able to test it, and they say it works a treat. They say it works really well. So there's a bit of kit with it at the moment. This is just sort of a prototype that they've worked with, but they say it works really well. They say there's sort of two grades of batteries. There's the battery that has been announced as the first sort of consumer model, and that's going to last about 2 hours. And then they're going to bring out a bigger battery at a later date that's going to last more like 5 hours. So if you're having an evening of it with friends and stuff, that would be more the one. They say, as well as your usual setup, you get a TP Cast video transmitter. So you get an extra transmitter that is really, to be in the best position, should be in the middle of the ceiling, pointing down on the play space. So a little bit of messing about.
So you've already taken a whole room over, so you might as well just take the lampshade out and be done with it at this point.
Why not do that? You can also put it on a stand, I think, somewhere. But they say mounted high in the room facing the play area, but the company said it's best set above the play space in the middle, pointing down. So yes, essentially we can look forward to the new TP Cast sensor light shade, can't we? That little fitting. Their play space was 4 metres by 2.6, and they claimed that it can cover a 5 by 5 metre area. And so, yeah, they said it works really well. They did tests on different systems, and they noticed, and this was the thing why me and Anthony, way back when we started the pod, I think before you even joined us, James, we sort of discussed how it had to be wired, because we couldn't believe that they'd be able to transmit frame rates at 90 frames per second and up wirelessly. I don't know how they do it unless they do it in some kind of like Citrix type system or something, or if they do it on some kind of OnLive type system to do this. But nevertheless, of the way that they do it, it works like a charm. I think these are going to come out around, well, speculating at about $300 for it. But as a Vive owner, if this works really well and the battery lasts long enough, I would be very tempted to get one because, just to sort of flesh out the experience even more. I mean, this would make the experience... It's the only improvement I can think of, really, I suppose, barring extra resolution and things like that, and full games, obviously. But they got a gymnast in to do some testing. And there's a clip here that I'll put this GIF in the show notes for people to watch. And please have a look at this, it's awesome. So they've got this gymnast in a VR game, and they get him to do a backflip with the Vive on. It totally stays on, yeah. And then just after the backflip, they throw him the sword, they're throwing the controller, which he catches and then tackles the enemy. It's absolutely awesome, man. So you guys should have a look. If you click in the "and wow," that's just a very quick GIF that shows him to a somersault.
Oh, there's more? There's more high flaming action.
Yeah, you want to have a look at that, and I'll pop that link in the show notes at the end because it's just awesome. That's what I want to be like. Doing backflips in the lounge, kicking over the TV.
That's just so cool.
But I think that's well worth putting into the show notes because that's just awesome.
We'll just put it into the page so it just continually plays on the page.
Yeah, and then no one can miss it. But yeah, that's wire-free, room-scale VR, and that's got to lead somewhere, hasn't it? That's awesome. Because I've also read about people just adding extra tracking sensors along a bigger space.
Wow.
Because the one tracker's got a finite distance. But it seems that if you add more and more, say along a big hall, then you can seamlessly walk and it all gets sent back because it's the headset that reads it rather than the sensor, because the sensors don't plug into your computer, they just plug into the wall. And the sensor just reports back to the computer of the angles that it's hitting the sensors at. Wow. And I'm sure I read on a Reddit thing that they had a massive area and just lined it. They got more money than me. They lined it with sensors, and they were just walking about, and the only restriction was the cable.
Wow!
All of a sudden, if you get this TP cast and maybe a few more of these lampshades, you could obviously not for the home, but you could make some big VR spaces maybe for people to have in like VR-cade type places and stuff like that. So that's really interesting, and the technology will hopefully hop over to Oculus and hop over to PSVR before you know it, we'll all be walking around wire-free in VR.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we've said previously on the pod, I can just I never thought we'd get this far this quick, but I can just see these being the next iteration of the VR, of the HMDs. There you go, Des, I use the words. The HMDs. You could just see this
James, that's a professional.
I'm not really a professional because I make a big point of it. So it's but that's exactly kind of what you would expect to see from PlayStation VR 2, from HTC Vive 2, etc. Those two kind of just going out and just becoming wireless and using that technology. So it's really interesting to see how quick that has evolved.
Yeah, it's like leaps and bounds. It really is. They were able to move around with complete freedom. With jumping and flipping, as you've seen, and as listeners can see if they watch that GIF. So yeah, it's just really cool. I'm just trying to have a scan around to see if I can see when it's due out, but it only pre-orders at the moment. Pre-orders opened in November. They sold out quickly. They wouldn't say how many sold in that first batch. It's planning to ship from China in Q1 of 2017. It's not possible to pre-order it internationally just yet, so it looked like just China was able to pre-order. As for a launch in the US, all they would say is sometime next year. A US price has not been set as yet. They also did say, actually, that the TP Cast has support for other headsets on its roadmap, but it was hard to say when it could turn its attention to those other products. They're working on a version of the Vive kit that outputs in 4K too. Blimey, I didn't read that before. Which is likely to future-proof the device for when new headsets support that resolution.
See, if something like TPcast was to work with PlayStation VR, it's quite easy because the initial cable that comes out of the HMD is quite a short cable. So you could just kind of plug onto that, clip that onto the back of your belt or something like that, and that would work really well, I think. If that could get rid of that ginormous cable that runs across that's appetizing to James's bunnies, that would be, I mean, it would just really kind of, it'd really help. I mean, I'm very excited about that. I just think it's going to be a great jump in that evolution of that piece of equipment.
Yeah, well, the tech's there now, which is fantastic, and it'll naturally evolve, won't it, into the second iterations, the Gen 2s of all our VR kits. So that's exciting because we all make the sacrifice because it's quite amazing to be in VR, but over time, that's going. It's never been ideal, has it? Really, having a great trailing wire. Especially if you've got rabbits. So now, it's gonna eliminate that, and I think that is just like you say. I never thought that within such a short period we'd see an advance like that. I don't know how they do it, but I don't really care how they do it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it must be some sort of custom Wi-Fi solution, because you think like the 360 opted to move away from Bluetooth and chose their own proprietary wireless solution. So they must have just tried to optimize the bejesus out of it.
Yeah, wow. So it's awesome anyway. And so finally, we had recently Unity's Vision VR AR Summit in Asia, held in Beijing, China. And during this event, one of the showcases or presentations, if you like, was the challenges and opportunities of VR developer. And this was hosted by China's regional president of Vive, Alvin Wang Graylin. And during this presentation, Mr. Graylin made his own predictions for the future, not just for next year, but the year after as well. And apparently he went on Twitter afterwards and said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So there's an answer for you all. So here we go. What's he predicted? 2017, these are his predictions. So this is the head of a VR, president of Vive, telling us what he reckons is going to happen. 2017, VR PGC grows to 10,000 titles. Right, I don't know what PGC is. Yeah,
I'm desperately quickly scanning the page.
You tap away, guys, because I'm not sure. There may be a few acronyms I don't know here, and I've omitted to research them, so forgive me. Hopefully there'll be some good ones. New dev tools and cameras enable UGC VR explosion. Now I'm going to have to look up UGC, aren't I?
You keep going, I'll go Google.
Okay, cool. So that's...
it's really hard to find these acronyms at the moment.
Sorry, sort of out of context as well. VR-ready PCs will outsell standard PCs by Q4 of 2017. So that's interesting. You can't comment because you're too busy trying to find out what PGC and UGC... Psychiatric
Genomics Consortium.
Let's just leave that there.
Okay.
Pocket Gamer Connects.
It's
procedurally generated content.
I feel like we're playing one of James's word association board games. Let's just leave it. Readers, you can look at your leisure and find out the context. So mobile VR sales exceed 50 million units.
Virtual reality VR. That's what that stands for.
VR. Thank you. Boom. VR becomes the new consumer status symbol, he claims, in 2017.
CSS.
Right, CSS, consumer status symbol. Education becomes major VR growth driver. We've done loads of stories on here about education and VR working together. VR ads begin to supplement dev income. That's an important point because there's been a few stories recently about devs not finding a profit in VR because there are not enough systems out there. And it's kind of a weird catch-22 because if there's not enough systems out there, then the devs won't be able to make money. If they can't make money, they may lose interest, which means VR won't grow. So to grow, the devs need to profit, etc. So that I hope that does happen because there's been a bit of an outcry, James, recently about VR people, and mainly I saw it in the Vive subreddit, that were just like immediately sort of boycotting games because of this and that and the other reasons, saying, right, I'm not buying it.
Or is it like the ones that were sponsored by Intel? And
yes,
so Intel...
it was Arizona Sunshine. And when I first read the story, I was a bit incensed because they basically locked a load of content behind you needed an i7 or something.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of people that didn't have an i7 going mad, saying you shouldn't lock this content away if I'm paying for the full game. It's not fair. Well, there was more than that. It was a massive proper pitchforks thing. And then in the end, I think one of the devs from Arizona Sunshine came out and wrote a whole big post saying, look, guys, I think he was just getting fed up of it all, and he just said, look, there's no money to be made. We're trying to make games for something that I'm not reading this exactly, obviously, I'm paraphrasing enormously, but basically kind of the crux was, we want to make the games, but we've got to make some money. But we've got to sell it at a competitive rate, or everybody goes mad. So we've got to look for different ways to make money. And we thought this was a good idea, but everybody goes mad. So what do we do? Sort of thing.
Yeah, well, it goes back to the App Store again, where people expect things for a certain amount of cash, and they don't necessarily see the business working behind the scenes. Yeah. And I think if maybe in that situation, because I caught snippets of it, if they'd just been purely upfront, like basically this is effectively, the Doritos game for an extreme example, or the Mountain Dew games that used to be on XBLA. At least you know where they were coming from. Like, you knew they were sponsored to a certain amount because they have, the advertising everywhere. So I almost think that in that situation there was a messaging that had failed before it got to that situation.
I think it was the fact it seemed to come as a surprise. I mean, I followed Arizona
that's all down to getting out ahead of the problem.
Yeah, and that was the thing. People don't like that sort of surprise. They've been it's sort of a AAA, if you like, in VR. This game, I haven't played it yet, but people have been waiting for it. It was part of the VR or the Vive showcase before Vive was released. When people were putting in pre-orders, before the pre-orders went live, part of the sizzle reel featured Arizona Sunshine.
Yeah,
and it was like the best, the best game on there. So people have been looking forward to it for ages. And then to get this as a surprise, unsurprisingly, really, got people a bit heated up. But then it brought out this argument from the dev side that I don't think I certainly wasn't aware of it. I hadn't looked at it through the dev's eyes of just the challenges, the fiscal challenges. And I hope that it's had the desired effect to make the consumers, fickle consumers that we all are, just have a think about, like you say, it just sort of made me think about your point earlier that you can't have everything for free. We all want tech, we all want things to be improved, and we want things to be amazing. But there is a price to be paid, and if developers want to sell things that they're making not much money for and try and accrue money elsewhere, you can sort of understand that they tried a different strategy, which kind of sounds like a good idea, but yeah, maybe they should have just been a bit more upfront about it. I certainly didn't know. I never read any news stories on Arizona Sunshine's going to be amazing, but also it's going to have a lot of content behind your processor.
Yeah.
So, good idea, bad implementation, bad messaging, like you say, really. It could have been avoided, probably. There's still been people not happy, but they would have been...
There's always going to be people not happy when it comes to things
the internet.
Like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Going back to the list that came out of the VR Focus, I think some of these seem far too early for 2017. Things like creating 10,000 plus VR titles. Was like, you probably could, but would any of them be any good?
Just shovelware, isn't it?
Yeah, and maybe things like mobile VR sales exceed 50 million units. Yeah, everyone with a Samsung or a Pixel or an iPhone is effectively VR ready at this point in time. But then there's certain aspects like education becomes major VR growth driver. Schools don't have the money to do that. I can't see how that is actually going to become anything other than people trying to pitch to schools going, you will be able to get more immersive experiences for your students in this. That's fine, but I can't see how schools are going to afford to have this as some way they can push lessons, because they're only really just taking on like iPads and bits and pieces like that. I can't see how education is actually going to push things next year. And
No, because it's like one Vive, one child.
Yeah.
in a whole school.
Yeah. And the same
Yeah.
with VR ads begin to supplement dev income. I can't see that floating either, because what experiences have you got that will actually see ads seamlessly just slip into them? Unless you're playing a sports game with maybe banner advertising or an open world game where you can actually walk around and see adverts, there's going to be nothing but horrible intrusive pop-ups as far as I can see. Yeah, put it in a menu or so, but that's age-old styles. But how many games do you play where ads actually seem fitting?
Yeah, not really many, apart from sort of, I don't know, say snowboarding one, and it's got Sprite advertised on the billboards as you go down the hill. Things like that.
Yeah, that's almost it. I always count those as immersion, because I actually quite liked back in the day when Ghost Recon had links or acts, depending on where you were in the world, as billboards while you were going around the city. Because then when you were hunkered up against them, it's like, yeah, okay, you're advertising to me, but fair play, they got something that fitted the scenario and going, yeah, you would see an advert like that there. So it makes it just a bit more immersive.
Absolutely. Rather than seeing a made-up version of that, they kind of went for that real world item, and I just think that you're right, James, that really does just kind of add to the immersion of a game.
Yeah. Clever way of doing it. It is just sort of accepted. By the way, UGC is user generated content, so he's saying new dev tools and cameras enable a UGC VR explosion, user generated content explosion. I suppose this is with all these cameras and drones and things that you can get. 360 cameras being more available. I mean, maybe there'll be phones with 360 cameras on them, but I wouldn't have thought next year. So again, you've got to admire this guy's optimism.
Well, have you seen the latest Samsung advert for Christmas, where they have all the different Samsung equipment, and they have one right at the end, they have someone kind of putting on VR, and the family have left them a message like saying Happy New Year, and I just thought that was amazing, that someone's kind of filmed in 360, and they've then just kind of sent that over. They put their kind of Samsung VR headset on, and they're just replaying the message from, I think it was the Northern Lights, and I just thought, how amazing is that? It's really cool just to kind of give that extra kind of a zip to a message. So I really like that advert. That really kind of it was a nice kind of Christmassy, warm, cockle-warming advert.
Yeah, and I think that's the way it's going. I mean, I don't know how far we are off it, but imagine, I could have a look round Chessmas just because you've done a quick video, or you could even do it with a still, couldn't you? You could have a 360 still, and then I could walk round it and just have a little nosy, or wherever, maybe somewhere a little bit better.
Hey, there's nothing better than Chessmas.
I knew I was going down the wrong path then. So, where are we up to? VR developer shortage drives pay jump. He's expecting next year. Vertical industries adopt VR in a big way. And someone will spend 30 days inside VR non-stop.
And his name will be Darren Whittam.
I don't know. I was going to say the only way you can guarantee that is if he does it. Maybe it is. That's my typical month in VR. I only come out for the pod.
You're still in it. You just don't even come out for the pod.
Yeah, I get fed through a tube. Cut into NHMD. And then he goes on for 2018. So, predictions for 2018 in VR. Full-length VR blockbuster movie driving mass awareness / desire. Real estate developers begin to sell VR-ready micro-apartments.
You called that in 2015, I think.
Yeah. See, I should be standing up there on that lectern. VR development becomes most popular in colleges globally. Or becomes, I think maybe there's a bit of a translation thing there. VR development becomes popular in colleges globally, maybe, but then that's already been mentioned. We talked about the school thing. It has been proved to help in education, but it's just one per child is a bit of a tall order in most schools. First integrated selectable AR and VR product hits the market. So a device where a hybrid of AR and VR at will. That's pretty cool. And this is the year after next, isn't it? AI enables lifelike VR companions for the elderly and the lonely. That's sweet. And maybe sinister. Employers begin offering work from home programs via VR. Celebrity live streaming becomes the new social phenomenon. All key retailers begin offering VR shopping models. VR social solutions get traction and exceedingly sticky. I don't know what some of this means that I'm reading, What does that mean? VR social solutions get traction and exceedingly sticky.
I think that basically means it gets uptake.
Yeah.
And then also people keep coming back to it.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. Just reading this and I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm saying.
It's like when you've put a HMD on and then someone else does and they've got sticky fingers, that's what that means.
They've touched your lens.
It becomes sweaty and sticky.
I've had some people in my VR headset who've been very sweaty. And I've put it on, and because it's foam, it's actually squelched like a sponge when I put it on my face. And it's not good getting so sticky. I forgot the headbands one night. Oh dear. Anyway, he doesn't say that. I predict headbands being used for most VR users to stop stickiness.
God bless the PlayStation VR with its lovely kind of wipeable material.
I do like the sound of that. Still yet to try it. I'll have to come up to Tunwells.
Yes.
The final one, high-quality VR MMORPG releases and becomes an instant hit. Maybe you know something that we don't.
I think there's just basically he's put a lot of buzzwords up on a dartboard.
It's a wish list more than...
Yeah.
Or maybe it's his targets for the next 10 years.
Aim for the moon and you might hit the ceiling, I guess, on some of these.
Yeah, if we were playing buzzword bingo, we would be like full house.
Yeah, I mean, some of them, man, are just so optimistic that I sort of wish that maybe I'd read them a little bit carefully before I started reading them out on the pod. But there you go. I thought it was a good way to end it.
It was indeed. So is that it? Are we done? Are we going to 2019?
No,
2019, the whole world is killed by a disease spread by a sweaty VR headset.
2020, the whole world is saved by a vaccine created by an AI within VR.
By PlayStation VR. Right, that's about it for this Christmas episode. A big thank you for listening. Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're at LostSparkPod. You can also find us on YouTube, Gamers of Lost Spark, PS4 community, and also the Xbox One Club. Darren, where can we find you online?
You can find me as Wythamator on PS4, Xbox One and Twitch, Daz a Gamer on YouTube, and at Daz Whittam on Twitter.
Perfect. James, where can people catch up with you, sir?
You can find me as Big Sheep on Twitter, Xbox Live, and PlayStation.
Excellent stuff for me. I am Chessman on Xbox Live. On Xbox Live, I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter and Nintendo. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Also, if you're feeling Christmassy and generous, please leave us a review on iTunes. So that's about it. I'd just like to say, on behalf of Darren, James, and myself, we wish you all a fantastic Christmas, and we'll be back in the new year for our Game of the Year show. So, chaps, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Happy Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Ho, ho, ho.